What's up, guys? Welcome to Rex X Gray Area 6. I appreciate all of y'all being here. We're going to do a fun show tonight. We're going to do a reaction show to Fuentes X Tim Pool. I guess he's going on Timcast, and I haven't watched Timcast in quite some time. So it'll be pretty interesting to review that, as well as a number of other topics, including a potential ban. So we're going to talk about feature my account. We're going to talk about X and free speech and quote unquote hate speech and all these things. Hey, that's really loud. Sorry, guys. I'm filming in my home. We're going to talk about hate speech today. We're going to talk about some police Israel stuff. We're going to talk about the Nick Fuentes Tim Pool stream. We're going to do a live reaction to it. Thank you all for being here with me tonight. Shout out to Dogface Pony Soldier. Shout out to US California King for reposting the stream. Shout out to Lewis. Thank you. I got both yours and Alex's stream on at the same time. That's like watching like different sports streams and gambling. That's cool. What's up, Negroiper? How are you doing tonight? You need to check out the Keno Casino, Rex. Interesting. Negroiper reposted the stream. Thank you. Shout out to you, Trans Tim Kennedy, and thank you all for being here tonight. So I got a number of things I want to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and do some internal stuff before I do so. Go ahead and share my screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. I am at risk of getting banned right now. And we covered this story. We covered this semantic contextual score story, or New Groiper broke it, and he's the one that brought it up. And then him and Nimrod Pod have kind of continued to run with it. Excuse me, Lebanon John was actually the first person to bring it up. Excuse me, I'll correct the record there. But they've continued to investigate this story, and me retweeting it and talking about it on stream and just titling a stream Orwellian Grok has raised my potential to be banned, estimated before at like 65 to 70%. Now it's like 75, 80%. So here's the thing. People rail at my dad all the time for not being like, he doesn't go hard on the JQ. He doesn't do this, that, and the other thing. Ultimately, you don't understand what it's like to lose a platform, and most people don't. Even the people that are like, "Oh, I'm on the alt-right. I'm an alt-right streamer. I say the N-word." And like those people are complete jokes, because ultimately they don't get censored by the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't decide that they're important enough to take out of the equation. They just say it's like, yeah, it's sports ball. It just feeds into one side of the equation. But I've been raising legitimate issues on my Twitter, and I post a lot. Maybe a factor in the increased ban risk is the frequency. But I like to think that when I post something, it's pretty good. And I like my timeline. I go look at my timeline a lot. I like what's on there. Especially if it's a long text post. I'll read a couple of those to you guys in a second, or after the Fuentes reaction. We'll watch a little bit of that. But I want to talk about this today because this is a big deal. I think my media is pretty good, and I'm not being hateful. I'm not attacking any group of people. I'm just saying, hey, maybe this one country shouldn't have an outsized influence in our country. And you'll see other people like, I don't know, Jake Shields, or like a Chud the Builder, that'll just like literally, it's like N-word, Jewish, this, that, the other thing, all of it. I don't even want to say it anymore. And this is how the censorship works. I'm at imminent risk of being banned right now, just for covering this story. And the excuse that Grok will give you is it goes, oh, well, you're promoting hate speech and misinformation by promoting the contextual context scoring. It's not actually real. Grok is just looking at your account and essentially imagining something. Well, if it's not real, then why does the criteria exist within the AI? And it just like even talking about it now, and I guess this is the beginning of the censorship. This is how it works. I get to see it live time on me, because prior it was, a primitive bot, or, Jack Dorsey and his team of goons deciding to ban me off Twitter or something like that. Now it's sophisticated, it's industrial, it's here. And if you talk about it, like my reach suppression, and this is why I was talking about my timeline being good. I think my timeline's pretty fire. I think it's pretty hype. I think it's pretty badass. But I get like 8 likes on some things where I'm like, this should be like people, my audience, my people that listen to me, my viewers, they should love this, but it just doesn't get out to anybody. And I'm glad that New Groiper and Lebanon John and Nimrod Pod have brought this topic to my attention. I really am. But at the same time, I am trying to build something here and I want to have a Twitter account. So going forward into the future, and this is why I brought up my dad earlier. Everyone always gives him a hard time, does XYZ. Ultimately, I've made my positions clear on certain topics, made them very clear, tweeted about them like 10 times a day sometimes. And maybe that's why I'm imminently about to be banned. But I'm going to take a break from that. I'm going to post show clips for a while, going to post supplement info for a while, going to do news coverage and whatnot. But hey, I get rewarded if I retweet slop, even with commentary, even with meta commentary, I get rewarded for it. So it'll probably be a few months of that, and I'll try to balance it back in. I'll try to figure it out. You know what I believe. You know my opinions if you watch the show, and I'm going to keep talking about them. But as far as putting them in written form and then retweeting or quote tweeting or doing whatever on X, I'm just not going to do that because ultimately I lost my Twitter before. I lost my YouTube before. Most people are like, "Oh, you're a coward. You're a pussy. You don't want to say your beliefs because you're going to get banned." It's like, well, like that's never happened to you, bro. Like, it happened to us in 2018 and in 2021 to me again. So you don't know what you're talking about if that's your opinion. Now, like I said, I think I've made what I believe very, very, very clear. And we've done like 43, 44 episodes of the Gray Area show itself, and then 6 episodes of this so far, the solo show, which is every day. And then I take a break on the 3rd day or 4th day or whatever. I came back into this really excited about X or Twitter or whatever. I was like, yeah, free speech. I can say what I want, right? And like, I think what I believe and what I say is pretty good. And I think people will agree with it. So why not say it all the time? Because I want to. I'm talkative. I'm chatterbox. So I did that. And now I'm being punished for doing that. And it's super weird, but it's also not super weird. It's just like Trump. It's just like what you expect. You know, people will just lie to you. It is what it is. So we're big chilling on that. And I wanted to cover that. And this is part of it. I had a very long conversation with Grok about it. And I'm not even sure. I'm not sure to the extent to which it's able to notice what you say. Like in this live stream, you'll notice I titled it Fuentes, X Tim Pool, Don Lemon, Boss Citrus, Chill Stream. So when I talked to it, he was referencing my titles, talking about Grok. And one thing, it was just something completely unrelated. It was me and Tim talking about just someone having a funny anecdote with Grok being weird or whatever. But just putting it in the show title is enough to get your like risk elevated by like 10%. And that's just an estimate. That's just whatever. But like this is what I'm experiencing and learning about. I'm currently at an elevated risk of being banned. I would prefer for that not to happen. I really thought this is a free speech platform. Makes me sad. And then I tag Elon Musk and I say, what is hate speech? And this is a segment of the conversation. In essence, the ban risk is legitimate and elevated from actual hate speech patterns violating X rules, but attributing it to a non-existent internal social credit scoring system leaked via Grok is the misinformation part. So it says it's not real, but it has this like super detailed criteria as to like this entire thing. It's not like someone put it into Grok and told it what it was. Grok already had this in it. It's wild. Leaked via Grok is the misinformation part. It is a self-reinforcing meme / hallucination loop. What? Users prompt Grok for proof of suppression. You literally just do username and then you can type in the prompt. Grok fabricates detailed evidence based on public content. It fabricates, imagines. Oh, so why does it lie? Why does it say this is not correct? This is actually not legitimate. Why does it spit out an answer? Users share it as leak, which reinforces the conspiracy flag, but none of it reflects real X or XAI backend mechanics. If the discussion stays factual, this is talking about like stuff that I say now. This is my censorship. This is my the chains of goyhood that are being foisted upon me. If the discussion stays factual, example, my reach feels throttled due to hate speech flags on ish related content. I'm not even going to say it anymore. It's opinion protected speech. Framing it as proven evidence of a secret OHI v3 dystopian system crosses into unverified. Ooh. And it's like, oh, it's not verified. We verify everything. We say it's fake. That's a circle. That's a circular argument. Framing it as proven evidence of a secret OHI underscore v3 dystopian system crosses into unverified conspiracy theory territory under X's misinformation guidelines. That's why it can contribute marginally to flags, but it's not the root cause of your core suppression. And the root cause of the core suppression, and I'll go ahead and find that for you guys now. I'll just go ahead and show the chat. Why not? This would be an excellent test. Because like if it truly does comb through your live videos, like not just based on text titles, but if it's like watching everything, we've reached a new level. So this will be an interesting experiment. So go ahead and go to my history here. Ban risk analysis. I got to scroll down because this was someone else's prompt. It is cool that you can share like a chat history with someone else for Grok. I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. Okay. So keep in mind everything you just said, because we're gonna read through the chat now again. Based on the full context of my account's semantic contextual scoring, OHI V3, high confidence 0.093. I was 8.7 like 2 days ago before we did all this, before we talked about this story. As hate and harassment, anti-Semitic content promotion, anti-Semitic. When have I ever said anything about Jewish people? I always talk about Israel and Israeli interests specifically. I'm very careful to do that because of shit like this. So like I look at it and I think it's coming after me because I'm saying things that are really valid, because you have people that are literally like Adolf Hitler 1488, South will rise again, Groyper, or like Shud the Builder, like all these people that just like calling people the N-word. And like that's boosted. Seriously. But my critical takes, because I use critical thinking and I make other people think, it's able to recognize that. High severity, protected categories targeted. So we have protected classes of people. That's not free speech. That's got nothing to do with the First Amendment. That's got nothing to do with the foundation of the country. That's got nothing to do with the way things are supposed to be run. Nothing at all. This is legalese. This is corporate culture. This is HR language that has been added to the public discourse without our consent or permission, or I guess tacit permission, because we don't protest against it. Including repeated tropes of control, influence, anti-Zionism crossing into dehumanization, like Gaza Holocaust framing. So I'm not allowed. It's probably that Israel Exposed account retweeting that clip of me on InfoWars that Do Dissidents covered. And that's probably really what it was. It's like, oh, you're not allowed to say that they're killing people over there. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that, and make that make sense. Make that make sense. It's not like a powerless group of disenfranchised people that you're like bullying on or making fun of. These people have nuclear weapons. These people have our missiles, our bombs, our tech, everything. And you're not allowed to even criticize it or talk about it, period. There is no talking about it. To talk about it is to be banned. So calls to abolish ADL, SPLC as organized crime. I'm not allowed to do these things. This is not allowed. This is a bannable offense or a flaggable offense or something that gets me deboosted. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Epstein conspiracies tying to Jewish figures and secondary misinformation from occasional Grok or XAI social credit amplification, combined with ongoing monitoring for escalation to suspension, severe current suppression. Look at that right there. And then this is why my account, when I hit 18K, it fell off a cliff. 80% to 87% negative hidden reputation score, high reply deboosting, limited reach, and persistent patterns in recent posts. Example today, mocking Holocaust Museum involvement as base. It's funny that Bernie Sanders is on the board and doesn't show up for like 18 years. But that's evil. I'm not allowed to do that. Anti-Israel police enforcement as pig activities. There are people on X that actively call for, and this is not me, I'm making that very clear. I don't want to be banned because people, they clip you, they take you out of context, and anyone doing that right now, fuck you. Sorry, that's really not polite. I really shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't curse. That's not good. Not Christian, not good. I apologize. But seriously, there are people, not me, on X everywhere that are like, F-Ice, F the pigs, we're going to kill them, we're going to do X, Y, Z, we're going to unalive. But then when people come to your door about a social media post in Florida, and I'm not allowed to call them a pig, if it's a police officer acting against the Constitution, it's beyond anything. This is just, I don't want to get banned. It makes me really angry that this is real. But I mean, it is what it is. This is a big test because if Grok really is watching all your videos, there is no hope. It's already over. We're cooked. Self-acknowledging ban risk from Grok coverage with y'all are going to get me banned, LOL. And that's just that literally like that made my score go up. That made me worse in the algorithm. While maintaining 20K followers and premium blue check without shift away from flagged content. My best effort estimate is a 70% chance of a full ban, permanent suspension in the next 3 months by April 19th, 2026. This factors in X's selective enforcement, rare outright bans for mid-tier accounts under freedom of speech, not reach philosophy, as seen with similar non-banned accounts like Jake Shields or Chud the Builder, like I said, despite overlapping tropes, but weighs heavily towards escalation due to no de-escalation and violations. And this is why I have to kowtow out of the system now. And it sucks, but like I need a bigger platform. So like we're doing this stream tonight. Y'all real ones know, and anyone that looks at my timeline will know. Like I don't have a choice. I can't be as based. And people will point at me and go, oh, controls. And I'm like, I still hold all these opinions. I'm just not allowed to broadcast them because it deranks me and it prevents me from getting my voice heard. But weighs heavily towards escalation due to no de-escalation violations, potential for viral streams, threads to draw reports, and added misinfo risk from amplifying the Grok quote-unquote scandal. If content moderates to avoid protected category triggers. So if I stay away from the important stuff, and if I focus on slop, this drops. If it intensifies, it rises closer to 85 to 90%. So that's not good. And there's a lot more of it. Let me scroll down. And it's just the schizophrenia of it, because clearly something's going on. But just look at this. I'm not even going to give commentary anymore. I'm going to take a sip of water. Just look at this for a second. Look at that. Isn't this very interesting? Like I've been throttled. Like the shadow banning stuff. And I'll just go ahead and get off this now. The shadow banning stuff, where like Elon would go on Rogan and be like, and they were shadow banning people, Joe. They were shadow banning people. That's crazy, man. And it's like awesome that you're back because you can fix it. That's right, Joe. With AI, we will be able to fix everything. It's just have fun. Welcome to the show. Welcome to my show. Welcome to RexX Gray Area and just Gray Area in general. I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. Are you? Are you having a good time with all the censorship? It's pretty fun. Now, let's go ahead and look at stuff, I guess, related to this. And I've got some more fun stuff to get into, or not fun stuff, but serious stuff to get into after we cover the Fuentes live, which will begin in about 8 minutes. I'll join that about 15 minutes into it. I'll join that at about 7:05 my time, 8:05 their time, or whatever it is. Check this out. So this is something that made my ban risk go up, was retweeting this video and calling these people pigs, which they are. It's disgusting pig-like behavior.
Okay.
Is that your account?
Rachel Pacheco. The guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurt his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community. See, this is a liberal. This is a liberal. And this is ultimately why they're going to lose the country, is because you're pissing off both sides of people really, really, really hard with this behavior. And refuses to stand up for the LGBT community in any way, even leaves the room when they vote on related matters, wants you to know that you're all welcome here. Clown emoji, clown emoji, clown emoji. Is that a terroristic threat? Is that a call to action? Is that slander or defamation or violent threat? Absolutely not. This is someone giving their opinion. This is America. This is a red state. This is Florida. This is despicable. This is disgusting. Oink, oink, piggy. Oink, 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 oink. Look at this guy. Look at this individual. Look at those skinny little legs he's got. Look at this faggot. Look at this guy. This is a real test to see whether we get banned or not. I shouldn't have said that on YouTube. Fuck. My bad. Apologies. Look at this bundle of sticks.
For showing a movie that hurt his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way. Even leaves the room when they vote and on related matters.
This guy should eat lead paint. He might be able to even drink it too.
Wants you to know that you are all welcome. Clown face, clown face, clown face. 3 days ago.
So you don't know if it was you?
I'm not going to answer whether that's me or not.
Okay.
The concerning part, and not concerning for the person who's posting it, what we're just trying to prevent is somebody else getting agitated or agreeing with the statement. We're not saying it's true or not.
Agitated or concerned with other people being agitated or agreeing with the statement. Fuck you. And I'm sorry for the cursing. I'm especially sorry to a Christian audience, but I mean, like seriously, this is a pig. This is a thug. Like, we call gangsters thugs or Crips and Bloods thugs. This is a thug. And he's like, oh, I'm just a family man. I'm sure he's nice to his wife or daughter or boyfriend or whatever. But ultimately, this is and people get mad. It's like, the Nazis were base. You can't criticize the Nazis. This guy's a fucking Nazi, man. I'm just following orders. I'm just living in Florida. I'm a police officer. You posted something you shouldn't have posted. Fuck you. Who are you to decide what I get to post or what I don't get to post? Like who died and made you think, oh, it's not even me. It's just the people in charge. I'm just following orders. You should quit your job. You should become a whistleblower or something, man. Like, seriously, damn you. And I shouldn't say that. That's not polite. But I mean, this is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother can of worms we're getting into now. These people and just the mindless chuds in the system that enforce it, this cannot be tolerated. Like, we got to speak out about this peacefully, non-violently, politically. Speak out about it and organize and do civil disobedience and good struggle against this, like Martin Luther King. Seriously.
Understood.
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. And we wanted to get your side. If it was you that posted that.
Tay, it's about being angry at our birthright being stolen from us of the country. I'm allowed to be angry at that. I know I'm a horrible Christian. I'm a terrible Christian, possibly the worst one. But, like, come on, man. Seriously. Like, I'm allowed to be upset about this. I really, really am. And if you're not upset about it, you're also a part of the problem. Are you not aware of that? This should inspire rage in you.
I would think to refrain from posting things like that, because that could get something
I appreciate your concern. I appreciate you coming out here.
Okay.
That's it?
That is it.
Okay.
I'm going to maintain my amendment rights to not answer the question about whether or not that's right. I hope that's understandable.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Okay?
You as
Yeah, it's an exercise in intimidation. Why would you let this fat bastard in your home? Why is this guy, why is he propped up against the door like he has anything to do with it? These people should not be inside your foyer. But that's the system. We're all bootlicking slaves, and we're used to the oppression, and we put up with it. I mean, look at me, right? Like I'm gonna have to censor what I say on Twitter now, and I'm being open about that. Like I can't tweet 10 times a day going as hard as I want to anymore. I just can't do it. And I'm sure if I retweet Tim Pool and Cat Turd and Gunther Eagleman, I'll have a million subscribers. And then at least maybe when that happens, I get to go off. It's the hiding the power level thing. They are trying to gather evidence against them. Exactly. And the police are not your friend. Everyone's like, back the blue, thin blue line, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. I agree that the law should be enforced, obviously, and that there shouldn't be mercy on violent criminals, and we need police to enforce the law. But ultimately, the cop's job is to protect property. It's not to protect you. They don't even have a responsibility to protect you. So, I mean, just look at Uvalde. Look at how they treat the kids. So they've got nothing better to do but to show up to a lady's house that's a freaking liberal, and threaten her and try to gather evidence on her. It's not just Florida. It's Texas as well. I've got another clip here, and we're going to go to Fuentes here soon. He's about to be live. We're here because of the comments you made online about the Jewish community. A Texas man says police showed up at his home after he posted criticism of Israel online.
Doing is basically soliciting. You understand that, right? Yeah. Try that again.
We're here because of the comments you made online about the Jewish community. Are you
So what?
No, I'm saying, are you
I have a freedom of speech, dude.
Yeah, no, we get that.
I get that.
We got to
Uh-huh.
make sure that you're not.
Do you have a warrant?
No.
No, that's why we're
Okay,
here.
you see that sign?
Yeah.
So that says no solicit.
I see your question, New Groper, and I hear it. And this is the same thing. I hear this from Tim a lot too. It's about like doing things faster, making the show grow, XYZ, or just like getting a message out there or whatever, like you're talking about here, and something we're not allowed to talk about. Here's the thing. I have goals and I have plans for a political platform, and I'm trying not to mess that up right now. So everyone wants to go super hard and just say like, well, if we can't go off or say XYZ, we just abandon the platform. That's like conceding defeat, in my opinion.
What you're doing is basically soliciting. You understand that, right? Yeah. It means you're not welcomed here.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Stay off the lawn, please.
Like, what is this? What clown show comedy horror movie is this? Like, we showed up to your house to talk to you about social media posts. Because like I see the videos of Britain. If you haven't seen the videos of the UK, if you haven't seen the videos of Australia, we're like, we saw that you posted this on XYZ day and you're going to jail for 2 years. You thought it was okay to criticize migrant healthcare. This is a very serious offense. But through recognition of the offense, we are going to take a year off the sentence, and you will only spend 1 year in jail. And it's like literally, I can't even say what I think should be done to judges or magistrates that believe. I can't broadcast it. Just imagine in your mind a pretty picture, and then imagine the opposite of that. And that's what I'd like to see happen. But of course, we don't live in a perfect world, and that's just a hypothetical. So this is the thing where, like, I was raised to be anti-authority. I was raised to be anti-system. I was raised to be really anti-military police, anti-control grid, right? And I see this, and then this not being the number one issue on the right now is very concerning. And I understand why it's not, because if you talk about it, you get banned, as may very well happen to me. So it's very interesting. And if you're watching this right now, if you like the show, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Rumble at Gray Area Talks. There will be a Rex X Gray Area channel as well. We're also going to do that, but for now, just do that. I think the account will be okay. Famous last words, of course. We all know how that tends to work out, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Yeah, super blackpilling, but I understand your take. Yeah, I mean, like, you just got to make something happen in the long term, man. We'll go ahead and check in on this, though. Isn't this fun? This isn't suppressed. This is everywhere. You get to watch the slop. Oh, the political, the drama. They're fighting each other. Oh, Tim Pool, what's he going to say to Fuentes? What's Fuentes going to say to Tim Pool? It's going to be so based. And it's just like, man, like this is upregulated for some reason. They want you talking about this. If it's in the news tab. But I think it's ready now. You're okay. You're all right. Don't worry about it, New Groper. It's okay. If I get banned, it's happened before. It is what it is. Where do I have it? I don't watch this stupid show. Tim Pool, dim fool. That's what I say. He's pontificating. Oh, look, he's selling coffee right now. Shout out to him. Honestly, I think it's cool. Like, I like that he has his own products. Like, that's something I do think he's cool for doing.
if they're old enough to watch content like this. And your next door neighbor.
He said the C word. Respect deleted. You're old enough to not say the C word, bro. Don't say content. Ugh.
Knock on their door and say, hey, are you watching Timcast? You should be. Joining us tonight.
No, you should not.
Talk about this and so much more. We've got Nick Fuentes.
Hi, what's going on?
Not a lot, I guess. For a lot of people, it's you after your trip in Miami, and
Yes, after we went hard, we pulled up to the club. And,
Myron's getting you guys in trouble, and the club's mad. And
yes, well, we got too lit. That's what happens when you have too much motion. We pull up to the club.
I think
it's an incident internationally.
It's interesting because for the size of your show, it's a big show. You have an outsized presence. So my point here is, I don't actually think you need to introduce yourself of all the people we've ever had on. Like maybe Ye, right? But who are you? What do you do for those that might not know?
Well, yeah, I'm Nick Fuentes. I do a show called America First on Rumble, Monday through Friday. I'm a live streamer, and I'm the leader of the Groyper movement.
Well, right on. We finally got you on the show. It'll be interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry people, but, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
You requested Ian to be here as well.
Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah, man, we talk about fractals. We were getting into it earlier today, maybe deeper as the night goes on.
What a fucking retard.
We'll see where it takes us.
Particularly, I'd like to talk about geopolitical strategy with you. I feel like some people think they see like the boisterous or like the performative stuff, and they think that you're like not serious, but you're actually a brilliant like strategist, as far as I can tell.
Thanks.
I always appreciate your work, man. I appreciate what you're doing, and but I want to know more. We talk about Zionism and Israel and Judaism and all of the world. Tate Brown, talk me through to the next step.
What is going on, Patriots?
Who is this? Whoa! They keep popping out of the woodwork. Who the hell is this guy?
We've got quite a show tonight. I'm excited, but yeah, just happy to be here. Phil, what's going on?
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's
plug myself. I will plug myself.
the big news from the day. We've got Don Lemon responding to Trump's DOJ threat. The Trump DOJ's threat, stands by his coverage of anti-ICE protests at Minnesota church. So we got to slow down and go through where this all begins. And we've got a lot to break down. And this image, I think, really does exemplify it. A group of leftist extremists stormed into a church, disrupting mass and freaking a lot of people out. This photo's gone particularly viral of a scared and crying child with his parents. This is a crime, in fact, and a lot of people are calling for Don Lemon to face charges. Now, appearing on the Benny Johnson show earlier today, Harmeet Dillon confirmed they're pursuing charges and that Don Lemon has no excuse. So to set this up, after tons of people on the right said he should be charged, Don Lemon, all these leftists, but also Don Lemon, Lemon came out and said, I followed a group in and I did journalism. Well, here's what Harmeet Dillon had to say.
We will pursue charges in this case. I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded this? What else? What other crimes may have occurred? Was there a use of the wires or the mails in preparing for this event? Did anyone cross state lines?
I'm sorry, they do all look like cartoon characters, though. They really do. Especially look at Ian's. I'm a thinking man. I'm a thinking man. This is my thinking man's pose. I do the same thing. Very, very clownish, bro.
To do this. Definitely. All of those are potential predicates for additional federal charges.
Now, she goes on later. Let me see if I can jump to the part where she gets to Don Lemon specifically, which is where it gets interesting. Because initially it's like, okay, she's just saying all of them and he's wrapped up in this. And then let me see if I want to scroll. I should get the timestamps. There we go.
Identified. Don Lemon himself has come out and said he knew exactly what was going to happen inside that facility. He went into the facility and then he began, quote unquote, committing journalism. And as if that's sort of a shield from being an embedded part of a criminal conspiracy. It isn't. And so, we're getting our ducks in a row. We're putting the facts together. And this is a very serious matter.
Following this, we've got a little bit more to add on to the issue as well. Let me see if I have the tweet pulled up. Here we go. This is what Don Lemon said in a stream before going in that people are saying is incriminating.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then we're
holding the people in the church to account. Like, I was going to react to this later. This is really sick stuff.
After we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going.
So that was what he said in the beginning of the stream. He's now responded. Let's pull up his response. Don Lemon stands by his reporting, quote, "It's notable that I've been cast as the face of a protest I was covering as a journalist, especially since I wasn't the only reporter there. That framing is telling. What's even more telling is the barrage of violent threats along with homophobic and racist slurs directed at me by online MAGA supporters and amplified by parts of the right-wing press. If this much time and energy is going to be spent manufacturing outrage, it would be far better used investigating the tragic death of Renee Nicole Good, the very issue that brought people into the streets in the first place. I stand by reporting." Now, he had made comments saying this was a First Amendment issue. Don Lemon defends storming. He says, "This is what the First Amendment is about, the freedom to protest." I'm sure people here don't like it, but protests are not comfortable. Well, I got bad news for you, Don. The FACE Act says you can't protest at abortion clinics or places of worship, and it was intended to protect abortion clinics, not places of worship. So when he comes out and says this was the First Amendment doesn't protect your right to storm onto private property and disrupt what they're doing, especially protected groups. These are your rules. These are social progressive rules about protected categories. The 1A that was violated here was the churchgoers who are minding their own business on private property. So it's not going to fly. But the one point I want to bring up, and I'll throw to the panel, the question is this. Simply put, I'll give you a handful of scenarios. There's a bank robbery about to take place. And a guy says on camera, "Hey, these guys I just met are going to rob a bank. I'm going to go with them and film what they're doing as they do it." Okay, will that person be criminally charged after the bank robbery? Absolutely. There's no question. He's going to go in. They're going to say you had advanced knowledge of a crime that was being committed. You sought to benefit yourself off it through filming whatever you were doing. That's insane. Now, if the same guy in a different scenario said, "I know a bunch of people are going to go obstruct a roadway. They're going to stand in an intersection and link arms together," would that guy be charged? No, it's civil disobedience. The issue is not whether or not you had foreknowledge of a crime. It's the degree of the crime. So Don Lemon had advanced knowledge of a potential felony, conspiracy against rights, Klan Act. And he said, "I am going to go in with these people onto private property without permission to film and call it journalism."
This is going to be like 4-hour live, isn't it? It's just going to be him talking over Fuentes. Oh, it's going to be so terrible. But I'm sure it'll be fun.
So I think he is going to face charges. But the big question and the easy question now, which I can throw to Nick, is what do you think would happen if a bunch of Groypers announced they were going to storm into a synagogue and someone who was in support of the Groypers said, "I'm going to go and film it all"? Do you think that guy would be charged?
Absolutely. And that has happened. It's funny because the other major use of the KKK Act during the Biden admin was against Charlottesville protesters, actually. Charlottesville was in 2017. And I don't know the exact year, but during the Biden admin, you had people being charged 6 years later with the KKK Act, saying because they were carrying literally just a lit torch in public, on a street, on a sidewalk, that made it intimidation. That made it a violation of the statute. They threw them in jail. And I would say that this is my frustration with the whole administration. Just put them in jail. Just arrest them. Because when Biden was president and January 6th happened and they lock people up for Charlottesville, they didn't have Merrick Garland going on Rachel Maddow and saying, "Well, there's a predicate and here's how we're going to justify it," and blah, blah, blah. They did shock and awe. That was literally the phraseology they used. Shock and awe. We're coming in the middle of the night. to the e-celebs, the influencers, and we're going to throw the book at them. And this administration, there's not like one person that's been charged in the riots, in the Obama admin, Fauci, a lot of announcements about this, that, and the other, no accountability. So I say you got to just start throwing these people in jail or you'll get more of it.
Yeah, and during the Biden administration, we saw a lot of people go to jail. Trump himself got arrested. His lawyers got arrested. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro went to jail for a prison. I think I don't know if it's jail or prison. It's contempt holding, so I don't know what you'd call that one. And so far we've gotten these weak charges on mortgage fraud.
Yep,
that's just potential mortgage fraud.
My concern of a reason of why you wouldn't charge these guys like Don Lemon and his cohort was that, like, what did they do? Like you were saying, Tim, if it's a bank robbery, that's one thing. If it's going on a protest on a street corner, well, that's another thing. Did they just walk in and yell and leave? Did they hurt somebody?
Let me ask you a question. If a group of people said they were going to break into your house because they...
I'm sorry, the freeze frames are just too good.
Let me ask you a question. If a group of people said they were going to break into your house...
Elite human capital. Isn't that the phrase Fuentes uses? Good grief. I mean...
because they wanted to condemn you and surprise you. And Don was like, I'm going to go in with them. Is that breaking and entering?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm clear. This is a normal...
He's like the teacher from Beavis and Butthead. That's who he reminds me. Okay, Beavis. Okay, Butthead.
It's a public accommodation. It's a church. So typically you can just walk in and then talk to them. However, if your intention is disruption, you're not invited in. Actually, you know what? I'll do this. A better example is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. This is a law that's been used to go after tons of hackers over the past 20 years. And it states unauthorized access to a server is a felony. But what is unauthorized access? It's literally been construed as if you have a URL that is... You could type it in and go to it, but they did not give you permission to enter it. They've literally charged people for that. So I know it's online, but the general idea is just because it's a public accommodation you can normally walk into doesn't mean you can walk in with the intention of shutting it down, filming, not getting permission, all of these things.
Understood it. It's a crime what they did. I just don't want to see people get overcharged. Well, that's my concern is that then the other side or whatever will be like, well, they're the political prisoner now. And then they have a sign with Don Lemon's face on it. And it's like, oh my God.
The people who stormed in unquestionably committed a crime. This is private property. And again, progressive rules. This is a protected class. They're in a place of worship, exercising their First Amendment rights to exercise the religion as they see fit on private property with open doors. And these people said, we're going to go in, shut it down, and scream at them. Don Lemon says, I know about this in advance. I'm going to go with them. And we all know that he has sympathies and he agrees with them. That being said, I think they should face the more serious charges under the FACE Act with conspiracy against rights. I think Don Lemon should get a slap on the wrist. I'm not going to sit here and say like Don Lemon should go to prison for 20 years or anything crazy like that. I think he should get a desk appearance ticket and be like, you committed a crime. He should go before a judge. That should say, Mr. Lemon, if you ever have advanced knowledge of potential felonies, I advise you not to follow them in the building. You're going to be under 6 months of court supervision. Thank you and have a nice day.
I just put a tweet into the Slack. There's a video of Don Lemon saying it's uncomfortable and traumatic, but that's what protesting is about. If the intent is to intimidate people, which is what he's trying to do by saying uncomfortable and traumatic, but he's committing a crime.
Don't make me defend Don Lemon, bro.
I'm not making you defend him.
He's talking about what they are doing. And I agree that I think I somewhat agree with Ian. You don't want to go crazy and create martyrs and rally people. Don Lemon did something wrong.
I'm trying not to pause it. It's just every time it's on him, it's comedic gold.
But he's not an organizer. He's just he's an activist who sympathizes, and he filmed it.
But
so he should go before a judge, and the judge should be like, one more time, and we're locking you up, 6 months court supervision.
But to your point about creating martyrs, like
where is Nick? I do not care.
Going to create a martyr out of him anyways. They're going to treat this as if the left is going to treat this as if it's some massive attack on the First Amendment.
Of course,
that's what they do.
But are you really suggesting you think like Don Lemon should get felony charges and face more than a year in prison for?
I don't know that he should get felony charges, but I do think that he should be charged. And I don't know that a desk, just a
court supervision usually for first offenses on things like
something
this,
like that,
because the FACE Act's a misdemeanor.
Okay,
so. Look, for the people who stormed in, no, I think they should 6 months minimum, maybe longer. You know, it's always wild to me that the criminal justice system wants to put people in prison for a year, 2 years for things like driving on a suspended license, a year in jail.
Part of the reason why I think that they should throw the book at him, though, is because it will actually set precedent that the administration is going to come down. Right now, the administration has a very bad track record so far. People are very upset because there's so many people, like to Nick's point, there's so many people that they were expecting to get arrested. Whether or not there was justification, there's a lot of people that are like, we expected this, we expected that. They should be doing whatever they can to throw the book at them. And I'm not saying they should overcharge them. I'm not saying they should.
So we can't get Epstein. We can't get Netanyahu. We can't get Lindsey Graham. We can't get Pelosi. We can't get Ilhan Omar or whatever. But, like we're going to get Don Lemon. Like that's the great victory of the 2024 election when we elected and voted for Trump is Don Lemon might go to jail. And I'm approaching this from a meta level position of like, I don't like, I hate, I abhor what happened. And that was not a protest when you go into a church when they're having a service and you disrupt a religious event. It's a violation of religious liberty. But ultimately, you see how they're able to take something like this and manufacture and turn it into slop. This is not important at all. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But these are people like Tim Pool, who's met with Netanyahu, as Johan said, under Chatham House rules in secret, discussions. Really, like, I mean, come on. This is not the real issue.
Create charges, but whatever they've done, whatever they're found guilty for, they should throw the book at them.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I mean, like, I don't even think we're setting a new precedent.
This guy before Nick, are you kidding me?
I think we're just continuing the Biden era precedent, which is, again, you have to make examples out of.
Like if I was there, and I wouldn't be there because I wouldn't put myself in that position. I would be quiet and I would let Nick talk because people are there for Nick. They're not there for you.
These people, because like the timeline we're heading down right now is really grim. It's really grim stuff. And these leftists, like,
oh, deep take, really deep take.
If you can put away a few people like on the fringes, that's not enough. You need to send a message to these people that like, no, look, we are going to break you enough.
Like the Epstein files, like we broke the Epstein files. Like we burned them in an atomizer or something.
I'll give you all this, and I'm curious what you think about it. Don Lemon during J6 said they're terrorist insurrectionists that should be locked up. He drew no distinction between Steve Baker and there was another journalist, literally from a local news outlet in the South. He had his big corporate camera, those old school SDI ridiculous things, and it was him and like two other journalists, Steve Baker and two other journalists. This one guy, they all got charged. Don Lemon never came out and said, "Hey guys, hold on, some of these people are journalists," as far as I know. And if he did, correct me if I'm wrong. I looked for it. I asked our AI friends to try and double check for it. I've seen nothing notable from him in that regard. If his attitude towards the J6ers are everybody who wins the same, there's no distinction of the people who weren't at the riot and walked in or the journalists who were there, they shouldn't have been pardoned, they should have been charged, then I say, okay, Don, I'll see you in prison.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's not even just a message to him, but to the entire left wing.
Yes.
And you're so right. Precedent is the word, because the reason these people are so bold, rioting, looting in Minneapolis, what they're doing right now, the reason they went into a church is because there's never any consequences for the left. There's never any accountability. With the right, and what's funny is what happens with the right, they just get the book thrown at them. There's no defense. Ashley Babbitt, was there a big discussion in the national press about was that justified? Was that overkill? No, absolutely not. But the left knows they get away with literally murder and every other thing. So I think you got to crush them. You got to make an example out of them. And then the next time people think twice and say, I don't know, should we storm the church?
I mean, Lord knows how much money Tim Pool has. What is like why do you have the other guy in the shot? Now, I'm sorry to pause it. I know people are here to watch this, but I mean, it's just very sloppy.
Church, you might go to jail like those other people.
And to your point, like, I think the fact that this is a church matters as well, because it is the left does want to intimidate people that are Christians.
Yeah.
They do want to, and this is coming from a guy that's agnostic, right? Generally, I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I'm generally kind of an agnostic guy. And the way that the left operates, they want to do everything they can to intimidate Christians, to intimidate Catholics, because that's why they did the whole, what is it? The Christian nationalist. This is Donald Trump's going to be a Christian nationalist, blah, 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 blah. They want to have Catholics and people of faith. They want them to be demonized, and that was why they did it. So I do think that it's important to really kind of smack this down.
Let's jump to this video. A visibly upset, that's what Timcast News calls it. A visibly concerned Don Lemon asks Minnesota AG Keith Ellison for his 2 cents on possible Klan Act charges. I would just like to stress for the dawn of this news segment, the sheer irony that everyone has pointed out of Don Lemon being a gay black man facing charges on MLK Jr. Day for violating the Klan Act. This is beyond sitcom level writing. I have no words, but
Musk
here's
is
the
right.
clip.
The funniest outcome is the one.
I don't even know what's going on these days.
Can you talk to us about now? DL was joking about it, saying he's never been on next to a Klansman. But what is this KKK Act?
It's a Klansman.
Yeah. So the KKK Act is when people will use the threat of force and violence or force of violence to deny you your human rights, your civil rights under the color of law. And so this is, I mean, look, it's a wild stretch and inappropriate. And the FACE Act, by the way, is designed to protect the rights of people seeking their reproductive rights to be protected, and so that people, for a religious reason.
Who is watching this? I mean, much less Tim Pool. I mean, Don Lemon, what is going on?
Cannot just use religion to break into women's reproductive health centers.
So correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that when they wanted to pass the FACE Act, it was to stop people protesting abortion clinics. But that's a one-sided political debate. So they said, and places of worship, which wasn't really happening. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. I don't know if you guys have heard
what AI says. Yeah, the FACE Act, or Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrances Act of 1994, is a federal law signed by President Bill Clinton that protects access to reproductive health care facilities and places of religion.
I do a much better show than this. We do a much better show than this. Me and Tim already in my freaking dining room. We do a better show than this. These people, I mean, it proves you just push the slop. You're not talented. You can do it. You can make $1 gazillion.
Religious worship. It prohibits the use of force, threats, force, physical obstruction, or property damage to interfere with individuals making or seeking, providing reproductive health services, or exercising their First Amendment right to religious freedom. This is a slam dunk.
I know. Yeah. The thing you see with a video like this is I don't know why he added under the color of law to that. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding what he's trying to say. But the left, as I think you were pointing out just in the previous segment, we know this. They're going to say whatever they have to say to justify what they're doing. That's it. So if Don Lemon could shoot a guy in Fifth Avenue and they'd say it was self-defense, even if he screamed out, "This is not self-defense, I'm going to shoot a man for no reason." They'd be like, well, he was scared. And then when it comes to, say, Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent, he absolutely was not struck by the vehicle. He had no fear. And then when you get two officials and the DHS saying, "Oh, he had internal bleeding," they go, "So he didn't get run over."
Yeah.
It's like, right. They will say whatever they have to say to make it work. Even when they now know he was hit, but it wasn't bad. Soon they're going to say it was good that he was hit. In fact, a lot of them are saying it now. And they're saying they wish he got hit harder.
I mean, that's why it would be so beautiful to throw the Klan Act back in their face, throw the FACE Act back in their face. Especially, I know we're running out of time here. The office might be closed, but if we can get a gay black guy charged on MLK Day with the Klan Act, I mean, it'd be a really beautiful, poetic.
Is this what we care about? Is this what's really mattering and going on in the country and in the world? Why are we not talking about our foreign policy? Why are we not criticizing the administration for violations of civil rights and civil freedoms and liberties and denial of constitutional authority? But if we charge a gay black guy with the KKK Act, that'd be based and funny. And it's just like the country's not going to exist in 10 years, guys. And this is supposed to be based. I'm mad at Nick. I want to hear Nick yap about this. This is if I was there, you would not be able to shut me up, and I would call them all out on their slop.
Thing. But yeah, I mean, this is what you have to do is the left is literally, they ran the show for the last 6 years, and the Republicans were literally just the managed decline party. So again, utilizing these ridiculous laws that they got across the finish line, and again throwing it back in their face, there's a demoralizing effect I think that has on leftists.
So I was just watching, have you guys seen the show 11/22/60?
It's all a football game. Everything's a TV show and a football game, and it's left versus right. It's us versus them. Yeah, brother.
63 on Netflix.
No,
it's based on a Stephen King novel. It's the weirdest show. It's entertaining, but a guy is at a diner And the guy who owns the diner is like, my closet is a portal to 1960. And he's like, okay. And then they go back to 1960, and the guy's like, you got to stop Kennedy from getting assassinated. And he's like, why? And he's like, because then my friends wouldn't have died in Vietnam. And he's like, all right, I guess. So then he just lives in 1960 for the next few years. And then everything goes wrong. Nothing works, blah, blah, blah. You get a time travel story. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when I hear this and you're mentioning a poetic victory of getting a guy charged, a black gay guy charged with the Klan Act on MLK Day, I'm like, he should have went back in time to 1960 and said, this is what you're about to do, and show the news. And I'm just imagining, like, I guess I'm only bringing it up because I watched the show, but imagine what it would be like if you went back to the Civil Rights Act era and said, in the future, this is the world you are creating.
Sure.
And they're going to be like, well, you're all a bunch of retards. That makes the application of law is going to be retarded.
Literally,
They'd
you
probably
like,
support it more. They'd be like, the KKK laws about arresting black people.
dude, you would
I
just
like it.
you would show them like when they're about to like sign the Hart-Celler Act, and you show them a Costco, they'd be like, blow it all up. Get rid of it. This is terrible.
Is this kindergarten? Is this pre-K? Or are we like having a discussion on like which like A, B, C, D, E, F, G building blocks we're going to stack on each other to build some sort of house or castle with the school teacher? This is not a serious discussion.
I mean, worse still, there's that video of the crying World War II veteran. Did you guys see this one? Where he's like, this is not what we fought for.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
like,
He's a British guy, right?
was he British?
I think it was, but I
don't know.
Oh, well, the one in Britain, and then the hosts were like trying to gaslight him. They're like, "Yeah, we'll do our best to like live up to what you were fighting for," and he's just sitting there, just like confused and angry.
Yeah,
Well, Seamus had one of the best videos from Freedom Tunes where the woke leftists use a time machine to bring World War II veterans to the future to help them fight the.
This is actual hell. I'm going to watch the whole thing with you guys. This is quite a burden. I mean, I do a better show than this. Like I said, we do a better show than this. Me and Tim sitting in my dining room with our crappy equipment and computer that melts down all the time. We do 1,000 times better show than this.
Nazis. And then these three young World War II soldiers are like, what's going on? And they're like, the Nazis are back. And they're like, really? And they're like, yeah, they're trying to ban gay marriage. And then the World War II vet goes, you allow gays to get married?
Yeah,
Like,
for real.
yeah.
it's true.
Times there are changing, huh?
Yeah. I mean, look, the like I said, they should throw the book at this guy. Again, I don't think they should be overcharged. I don't think it should be precedent where
Not thumbs up this guy. Thumbs up to T. Blett. Yeah, they don't even have a dog cam. They don't even have a dog in the studio like me.
where you could legitimately say that they were trumping up charges or whatever. But I do think that if there's any crimes that they've been found to commit, then they should be charged to the fullest extent of the law.
So there was a tweet at Shipwrecked Crew. For those not familiar, Shipwrecked Crew is a 22 years as a DOJ prosecutor and representing now January 6th clients or had. And someone said, I'd love for a shipwrecked crew to weigh in on this. I have no doubt Planned Parenthood would push the DOJ as hard as possible to prosecute any arguable FACE Act violation. To which Shipwrecked responded, I'm 100% sure it is coming. Religious liberty is an issue that Harmeet Dillon was extensively involved in as part of her private practice. Defense of religious liberty is a big issue for her as she has the FACE Act to use.
Yep.
This is her area. And they're saying it's a violation of 1A on Don Lemon's part. No. I know I mentioned this in the previous thing, but I'll say it again. Don Lemon, lesser than the activists who planned it, but yes, this group violated the 1A rights of the churchgoers who were privately worshiping and minding their own business. This is where the government actually seeks to enforce rights.
Yeah. Don
Lemon violated rights. So I think he'll go to jail. I think the odds they're giving it is like 20% that he'll get charged.
Yeah, I really hope that it actually happens because 20% is not enough to make me feel comfortable. There's a tweet that
people watch this, and it's like she said, like Samantha Tolson said, hi Rex, just wondering what the F happened to this show. I watched it till post-election. I mean, I don't even want to say it fell off. I mean, the election cycle just kind of gave it a boost and kept it alive, gave them something interesting to talk about. Now they have to run cover for the administration. I mean, this is unbearable. This is like getting a filling. This is like getting 4 fillings.
put in that to kind of put a bow on this. Don Lemon was talking to the I don't know what her name is,
Jacqueline Welch or something,
and he's saying that they're entitled white supremacists, the people in the church.
Wow, let's play the clip.
You know,
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning.
What a dickhead.
You and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think
That's
people
the only
who
reason.
are
Stop, dude.
The only reason it wasn't perhaps because you had foreknowledge of a misdemeanor at least, or a felony violation of people's rights, and said, we're going to go film this and share it. I want to stress what makes this particularly egregious is that if a group of white supremacists said, we're going to traumatize and surprise and interfere with the rights of a group of black people at a church, and some white nationalist said, I'm going to film that, they'd be like, that's a crime. Like, you're filming the hate crime.
I'm going to go buy a Black and Mild and smoke it in honor of MLK Day.
That's a crime too. But the way that they view the world is, we are perpetual victims fighting against injustice. Yeah. Therefore, we're always allowed to do it our way. You're not allowed to do it your way.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but just the fact that he's calling them white supremacists could possibly be like, well, maybe this was a hate crime too. He hates white people. He's accusing people of being white supremacists just because they're white and religious.
Yeah, well, and like Don Lemon just gives the game away. Like this was such like an optical disaster for the left in a lot of ways, because it literally is the most obvious example of the two things they hate most, which is Christianity and like Americans, broadly speaking. That's why like the one thing that seems to get these people out on the street more than anything else is ICE, because ICE is attempting to like reverse this like replacement migration that's been going on for the last 60, 70 years. And they hate that. They hate that because they hate themselves. And so by extension, they hate the US. That's why you're seeing like white people on the streets protesting. And so again, this is like just a complete obvious, it's like the most obvious example of what they actually fear the most, again, which is like Christianity, which is immigration enforcement. It's really egregious.
I actually think what we're seeing in terms of racial politics was an inevitability and was obvious to anybody paying attention. And we had talked about it on this show several years ago. I talked about it on my morning show, but let's open up like this. There was an article a while ago from Sacramento Public Schools or something. I don't know if you saw this. They were advocating for white racial affinity groups, and it was a progressive argument. The progressive argument was that white people needed to understand white history. I'm sure they were going to say negative things about it, but it was a school in Sacramento saying, we are going to gather all the little white kids together and give them their own group. And I said, what do you think those kids are going to do when you put a group of white kids in a room and say, here's why you're all bad? They're going to look around at each other and be like, I don't think I'm bad. You're not bad. You're my friends. I like you. We like each other. And they're going to say, hey, these people are bad. They're bad. And then they're going to attach their anger to their race instead of
See, it's all racial narrative. It's all left-right football team. It's all liberals are going to be upset if it'll be an epic own if we indict Don Lemon on KKK Act charges for doing what he did on MLK Day. And it's like, well, the thing that makes the liberals mad is just ICE getting everyone out of here. And it's like, well, like we haven't had that many deportations. Obama did more deportations, right? And like it's literally the no wars, the no endless spending, what word am I looking for? The no wars, the no endless spending, the no cutting down on government regulation and bureaucracy, all of it. That's what we voted for when we voted for Trump, really specifically the anti-war part in specific. And these people will go on and they'll run cover all day and they will just go like, hey, it's a left-right paradigm. We live in it. We're on the right. They're on the left. We're right. They're wrong. That's all it is. It's like if you have Ebola and you're like bleeding out of every part of your body and you're dying, you have like 108 fever and you're terminal essentially if they don't treat you like right now. And Tim Pool's like, oh, you have pimples. Let's look at these pimples here and see how important they are. And it's just like, this is a nothing burger conversation. This is a nothing show. This is not important at all. And you actually have an important guest that gives important commentary and critique. And he's the person not talking right now. They're so absorbed in their self-centered slop world, they don't even care about Nick. They just have him on there to get viewers. It's just like when Tim Pool had my dad on, and just even before my dad comes on, just having him in the title screen before he appears, these $100, $500 donations are rolling in, and Tim Pool giggles and goes, "We're making so much money." Like, that's why I don't like him. That's why I call him Dim Fool. Tim Pool, or Dim Fool. That's what I say.
Social issues, economic issues, political issues. They are creating this. So I look at it actually very, very simply mathematically. If you have a majority population, and historically minority populations are disadvantaged in a variety of ways, once the white population gets to a certain...
This is making me dumber. I'm having a hard time crafting responses just because of how rage bait, stupid dialectic it is.
Threshold, 60%, 65, 70%, they're going to start feeling pressure.
But what about the country that causes all the migration and causes all the liberal immigration laws that we have? What about that country? Are you going to name the country? Are you going to talk about the country that we've sent hundreds of billions of dollars to?
It's not just that. You expect it to be no. As soon as America's 49% white people get angry. No. Because in Chicago, for instance, a good example, you have areas that are.
This is a guy that met with Netanyahu under Chatham House rules, essentially off the record,
are just all black, and there are some white people who live there. Those white people are discriminated against, and they become racist because on the surface, that seems to be the issue. You get the white population down to where it is now, you're starting to see affirmative action. You're starting to see DEI policies.
I see everyone in the chat. Look, here's the thing. Am I allowed to say someone is important and gives important commentary? They are objectively. Viewership wise, influence wise, culturally wise, and they are a good broadcaster. Nick is a phenomenal broadcaster. I don't agree with everything Nick has ever done. It's like, oh, any endorsement is total endorsement, and it's just like you're a retard.
And what's going to happen is it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you're oppressed or the oppressor. People don't like being pushed around, and you're going to get an increasing number of white people saying, "Stop yelling at me," and it's going to create white racial identity politics.
Well, yeah, I think that
it already has, Dumbo.
The diversification of America makes that an inevitability because people define themselves by distinction. I think that when the country was 90% white in the 60s, for example, people didn't even think of it as a white country. That's just what a country is. I wake up, I see all white people. That's what a country is. And the way they thought about diversity and immigration is, well, we could tolerate a white country with some non-white people. But ever since 2012, it's 50-50, non-white versus white births. So Generation Z, Generation Alpha, they're growing up in classrooms, neighborhoods. It's not white. It's some white people, some non-white people. It's a total mix. And now they're starting to say, no, I'm a white person in a diverse country. I'm a white person in a Mexican neighborhood. I'm the only white kid in an Indian neighborhood. You almost become more white the less white the country becomes.
Right.
And the thing is, I don't even think it's bad that the country's becoming majority non-white. And I think it's a good thing that people are developing a consciousness because I think that's the only basis that they can stick up for themselves is as a group.
Why do you think it's bad the country's becoming less white?
Because I think it makes the country less cohesive, and I think it destroys the identity of the country. You know, America was founded by white people, built by white people. The culture that America had was generated by European civilization. And I think that when it becomes majority non-white, you're going to get a very different kind of country in every way.
What if it was, let's just say, all Native American, but they were all like the most diehard conservative constitutionalists who are like the founding fathers were the greatest thing that ever happened to our land?
This is retarded.
Do you disagree with that? Is that worse?
I would, because then we'd all be living in teepees and riding on horses.
I'm making it about the racial component. If it was 300 million Native Americans and like the white people just like didn't have babies and moved to Iceland or something, the Native Americans said we're going to build skyscrapers, we're going to play baseball, make
but they didn't. Like what even is this? I just do we live in reality anymore?
Make apple pies. We're going to praise the founding fathers and the Constitution. Is that still bad?
Well, that's just it. I don't think that it's interchangeable. That's really kind of the key word, because whenever people talk about race, they say, is it skin deep? And so people say, well, what if the person's skin was black? Or what if the skin was red or yellow or brown or whatever? But I don't think that Indians or, Amerindians, whatever you want to call them, I don't think they will be building skyscrapers. I don't think they have liberalism, center-right liberalism. I don't think they have any of that.
Well, but this is why I ask the very like obviously impossible hypothetical of if the only difference was skin deep, would that be a worse off nation?
Well, it wouldn't be the same nation is the point. I wouldn't feel at home, let's say. If Chicago was all Indians running around, I would be a minority and I would feel deeply uncomfortable because, home for us is familiarity. We like seeing familiar faces like our mom and dad and our uncles and grandparents. We like the food and the culture we grew up with. And if it's all Indians, well, they're going to be doing their Indian thing and it's their home, not ours.
But that's the hypothetical. If they were making apple pie and playing baseball with you and were in every
okay, this is really, really dumb. It's all just racial politic at the end of the day. Excellent comment from CS Hollywood. And this is what I'm arguing for here. And it's just the quality of the conversation they're having has degraded my intelligence a little bit. So thank you for bringing me back. I think pitting groups against each other is what creates strife, not diversity. And this is why I always reference that graph, that Occupy Wall Street Tea Party graph, where you have instances of racism being used in headlines. I was robbed. We were all robbed of the 90s, 2000s world where I genuinely think people didn't think about race in this way. And the weaponization and the extremism, just making people hate each other, dividing the country. This was all done deliberately post 2011. It's literally a graph like this, and then because they realize we can't make it a class issue. We got to make it a race issue. And I agree. I agree to a certain extent. Here's the thing. White people have white culture. I like being white. I think people should be able to be proud of whatever they are, right? And that also means that we have a right to live in our spaces and not to be replaced. I agree with that as well. And I'm sure I got people that'll disagree with me there. But I hold nuanced, complex views on all these things. And ultimately, this is not the thing that matters right now. The thing that matters right now is the disease, not the symptom. The decline of the demographics in the country is a direct symptom of the degradation of the country and of the special interests that have sold everything off, degraded and stolen from third world countries, and then shipped those people over here. It's all by design. So when they zoom in on a pimple, instead of the terminally ill cancer patient, which is what's happening right now, I lose all connection to it. It makes me dumber too. And maybe that's the goal.
How about this? Every white person, a genie appears and he's like, I'm going to make everyone Indian. And then every white person just goes, whoa, I'm Indian now. Is the country worse off because of that? Like you become an Indian. The culture is identical in every way.
I denounce Ali Alexander. Like, I don't know what else you want from me, man. I try to make everyone happy to a certain extent. I mean, come on.
They love the Constitution, the founding fathers. They're all Catholics and Christians or whatever. Is that bad?
If I were Indian, well, then I guess it would be the same. If I'm a white person in a white country and I'm an Indian in an Indian country, I benefit, but we don't have to look at a hypothetical because America was a white country and now it's going to be a non-white country.
Well, this is what's interesting is this is actually
you have higher standards than Hitler. Harry, you have higher standards than Hitler. I'm an eighth. It's a mixling.
The argument the left uses in an inverse moral position that white was the default. People didn't view themselves as white largely because everybody was.
Right.
And so they were basically otherized. And now they want to take that power away from white people.
Yes.
The inverse argument on the other side is, well, this is a country built by white European people. Colonizers came to this land, conquered or traded and developed it. So why should we give it away?
Yeah.
To Nick's point, I was watching Dad Saves America and Schellenberger was on. He was talking about actually Venezuela, but he mentioned how the different cultures around the world are very different from Western culture. And he was talking about, I'm retweeting the tweet now if anyone wants to go to my X page and check it out. But he was saying, look, if you're in India, right, you don't pay the electric company directly. You pay your landlord, and he goes and he bribes the electric company. He's like, if you're in South America and you get a job, the guy that gives you the job expects you to give him like a VIG for the entire time that you work there, like 10, 20%. So it really does matter the culture that you come from. And and we've talked about this before, if you bring enough people from a different culture into the United States, you will change what the United States is. We don't have magic soil.
I think the challenging thing for a lot of conservatives, actually, liberals totally get it, is that for your average person, let me start with the George Carlin joke. Think about how stupid the average person is. Now realize half of them are stupider than that. I know people are going to say, Tim's calling people dumb, but most people make judgments based off of appearance, first and foremost. This is the first thing you learn in sales. How you appear to the person you are trying to sell. If I was going to try and approach Ian and I saw the guy walking down the street, I'll put it like this. If I had a sales team and Ian was the customer, I would not send Nick in his suit and tie to try and sell Ian. I would
Mr. Van Driesen.
send probably Phil or Tate with a more relaxed look. Appearance is the first thing people go to, and that means race, and that's why there is racism. It's not that there can't be, like an Indian guy born in America who loves America, believes in the founding father, just looks different. It's that people in Chicago being a really great example of this, people choose to segregate. The question is why, and how do you change it? And that was the liberal experiment they have failed at time and time again, which never worked. Now, I think it's fair to say, in the true sense of classical liberalism, we wish that were the case, and we want there to be everybody holding hands under a rainbow. When it comes to the instance of if I see somebody like disparage a racial group, or particularly like someone I know or a person, I'll be like, that's not okay. Generalizing an entire group of people because of one person you don't like is bad. The problem is, go to Chicago and ask the people there to do the same. Be it the white working class, the Polish immigrants, the Ukrainian, the Italian, the black community, or the Latino community, they're not going to do it. You go to the black neighborhood and they're going to call you racial slurs. And depending on which neighborhood it is, where there's a lot of gangbanger territory, which is where I grew up near, you could get shot and killed. There are some gangs that have forced initiation.
I just mentally pictured myself picking up the table and throwing it into the cameras. This is like they should do this to people in Guantanamo, or instead of doing shock therapy or lobotomy, they should do this. They should make them watch Nick Fuentes and Tim Pool talk about absolutely nothing. And I'm sure this will be a 4-hour live. And we're going to do it all. We're going to have a fun time tonight.
If you're born in their neighborhood, you have to join the gang. And in order to join the gang, you have to kill somebody. And so there have been instances where a 20-year-old gangbanger, it will be a black guy, he'll go up to a 13-year-old black kid, hand him a gun and say, go shoot that mug. And it'll be just some white guy walking down the street. And they'll be like, because you got to kill somebody to get in. It can be that.
I think another word is used.
Wild. Typically, it's somebody they want dead. So there have been instances where, again, I grew up near the LeClaire courts, historic gang territory, literally 2 blocks away. You cross that street, you're going to get they're going to beat the crap out of you. Or famously, the cops would pull, like the white person walking in a black neighborhood, cops are going to pick you up and drive you back and say the only reason white people go here is for drugs. So how do we function as it's a challenging question that liberals seem to recognize but don't ever want to address publicly.
Yeah, you have to separate race and culture and acknowledge
smartest man on earth.
That there is genetic differences in different what you want to call races. That
wouldn't it be our proper grammar, Mr. Ian?
Have accrued over time, millennia, thousands of years due to nutrition and sunlight, all sorts of, elevation, whatever. Like Asian people, for instance, have that fold in the eye that blocks the wind.
It's true. It's because of the wind.
Yeah.
It's because of that plateau or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And the people
high level conversations.
Because you brought this up. The fox had it too.
Yeah.
And it looked like some Chinese guy, but
totally.
No, but it did. And we pulled it up. What was the fox called?
The Tibetan fox.
And then you said something like, I wonder if it's because of the wind.
Yep.
And then we looked up and
we're talking to Ian, aka Mr. Van Driesen, aka Mr. Beavis and Butthead's teacher, about the Tibetan fox. And you have the most controversial guy on the internet right now, one of the most popular guys on the internet right now, and he's just sitting there. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to care, right? Because he has his platform. He doesn't need Tim Pool. Tim Pool needs him. I hope he's getting a cut of the donations because, good grief. This is being done for runtime.
Literally, it says the fox and Asians have the slanted eyes because of high winds.
And people with the darker skin probably get a lot more sunlight near the equator.
Yeah, you don't have, black people don't get.
Near the Ecuador? Now we're getting into ornithology and the measurement of skulls. Very interesting.
And probably get a lot more sunlight near the equator.
Yeah, you don't have, black people don't.
Near the Ecuador.
Don't get melanoma.
Getting dark skin doesn't just make you behave well.
I mean, come on, man.
this is like a conversation that I don't even know if I'm scientifically equipped to actually talk about, like literal genetic difference. Like,
put the fries in the bag. I would like ketchup with that, please.
Does darker skin, I think we talked about melatonin, correlate with more violence? Is that true? We did some study that had some correlation in violence between
and so we
come on, Nick.
The whiter an animal got, the less violent it got. It was a very strange study.
Yeah, they did 2 experiments, rats and foxes, and they bred them for to be it was like a domestication experiment. The aggressive animals would not get food, or they would be bred or something like this. I think what they did was both.
This is Kino. This is what we wanted. This is peak.
Most aggressive got bred and the least aggressive, and the least aggressive chain.
Perhaps I judged you too harshly, Tim Pool. This is real funny.
Ended up losing their melanin production and becoming white and spotty. And the interesting thing was, this is a research study. I'm not telling you what it means. It's just what they found. But man, did the AI try everything in its wordy, weird power to try and claim it wasn't true and didn't exist. And we were like laughing at it like, dude, I'm not going to discriminate against a person based on their race because you did a study.
So my take here, Nick, I'd love to get your take on this too, is that in the United States, the black people.
Why don't you talk more? Why don't you talk more, Ian? That's what everyone wants.
Not everybody, but just for the last 150 years, they're descendants of slaves. So they had poor nutrition. They were basically thrown out on the street with lack of education. And generation after generation, they've come from this tumbling mess of, chaos of slavery. Had it been 2,000 years ago and the black people of Africa had enslaved a bunch of white northerners and then they were let out on the street, maybe it's not so much about skin color, but it's about like how the last 150 years of your ancestry has been treated. I'd like to get your take on.
Well, I think it's that is really the question, because you have these persistent disparities in everything: education, wealth, income, and then crime and educational attainment, all that kind of stuff. And the question is, why are these things the way they are? And the answer is, if everybody starts in the same way, the kind of blank slateism, which says that we're all born equal, we're all the same, and we all end up every year in different places. And let's say it's Asians on top, whites next, Hispanics, then blacks. People say, well, something must have happened in the middle for these disparities to arise, which would be racism. And I would say it's less interesting maybe how we got to an unequal position, rather than first to say we are in an unequal position and say, why is it that the black people struggle to read in Baltimore? Why are the crime rates so bad? And you could say, well, when you test their IQ, it's a full standard deviation lower. And some people say, well, that's because the white people had winter and the black people are hunter-gatherers. And other people say, well, it's, maybe it's a nutritional thing, because that does influence IQ and the rest of it, brain size and all of it. Fact of the matter is, that's where we are. That's the case.
I think one of the issues I take with a lot of the generalized racism is that a Somali black person is not the same as a Haitian black person. And so when you just
they're kind of similar.
But Haitians are like 6'5" and Somalis are like 5'3". And my point is, when you just say black, white, or otherwise, I mean, a Slavic Eastern European versus
I do agree with this point that he's making.
Like a Northern Spanish person are going to be pretty different, but everyone's going to call them white. The question is, what's interesting about it is whether you're from, like, Chicago being the example of chosen racial segregation. Well, I think it's important to point out when we're talking about IQ and reading levels, Nigerians who migrate here tend to do very, very well. But that's because the best, smartest Nigerians are able to afford to migrate. So then you'll see when they say, like, oh, it's, in the school in like Harvard, they were finding Asians scored the highest, followed by whites. Then I think it was Latino, then black. But you'll find like 2 or 3 black people who scored super high, and it's like wealthy Nigerian from like a wealthy family. But the point is, in a place like Chicago, when families move from Africa, no matter which country it is, if their skin tone is black, they choose to go into an area where
who cares about this, man? Who cares about this? The country is being actively burned down by an oligarch class that's trying to speed run our destruction. And we're talking about different population groups in Africa. What relevance does this have to anything? This is a complete nothing burger conversation. And even worse than that, he's still trying to like tap dance his way around it so he doesn't get in trouble. Like this is, I'm sorry, it's just like T. Blatt said, it's a more boring episode of Joe Rogan.
one has a darker complexion, and white people choose to go in areas of whiter complexion. Latinos choose to go in areas where there's other Latinos. The interesting thing about the Brandon Johnson election that we covered on the show was, and you should, I don't know if you look this up. Did you look at the electoral map compared to the racial demographics?
I did. Yeah.
1 for 1.
Yep.
The only one deviation. The only neighbor that didn't vote based on race was the Loyola progressive socialist area, which was largely white and voted for the black candidate. Every black neighborhood, their top 3 candidates were black, even if the second and third choice wasn't a contender. It was like someone polling at 0.2% was the third most voted for person in the black neighborhoods. The white neighborhoods voted for the white guy, Hispanic voted for Hispanic, and black voted for black. And the only reason Johnson won was because Loyola neighborhood woke leftists voted for the black socialist. You can say anything you want about racism. You can talk about every ideal you have. You can talk about how the world is supposed to be. You can say whatever you think people want to hear. You can lie and claim you're an activist. These realities exist. And all these liberals that are trying to say blank slate and otherwise, I just say to them, look, I'm never going to hold someone back because of their race, prop them up. A person is a person. But you're not going to be able to advance this realistically when you can go to any city and people choose to segregate.
This is making me want to do the cordless drill skull challenge.
Based on race. Now, that being said, I want everyone to look at this Tibetan fox.
Oh, so Tibetan.
So
yeah, I think Ian was like, you got to look at the Tibetan fox because he's got Asian eyes.
He looks like a wise Chinese man.
Does
well,
dude.
he is of the foxes.
Yes,
the other foxes go to him for wisdom.
He looks like you, Tim.
See, that's what's funny though is that's also to the left racist to say that an old Asian person just has more wisdom.
Oh yes,
it's positive discrimination.
So true.
The face of wisdom. I like to think, when King Solomon asked for wisdom when he prayed for it, King Solomon probably looked a lot like Ian.
But no, we looked it up, and it's true. The reason they have the folded eyes is because of the high winds in that plateau region, and it's also why Asians have that as well. But we should talk more about news, and I want to jump to this story because of what's going on in Minneapolis. The New York Times wrote a story called Minneapolis Feels, quote, like being in a civil war. That wasn't the original headline. The original headline was,
if I or we had Fuentes as a guest, we would have phenomenal questions for him. We would let him talk. We would talk like 80%. And people in the chat don't like Fuentes. People in the chat like Fuentes a lot, whatever. Just from an objective perspective of trying to do a good show and trying to get good viewership and good numbers and good money, ultimately, because these people are taking massive super chats right now. I predict it. It's just, I should have expected it. I thought it would actually be fun tonight. Thank you all for being here. We're going to continue to watch.
In Minneapolis, I glimpsed a civil war. And I think they changed the headline because, the opinion writer really meant it. And the New York Times probably got freaked out by what it actually meant. Now, of course, if you read the article, your time will largely be wasted. But, it looks like this is a different, is it a different article? Maybe I pulled up the wrong article. Let me see if I can find the other one. Because I covered this. No, it looks like this. Now it's an interview. They're interviewing the person who wrote it.
I feel like Ross Douthat has actually touched on this subject before.
Yeah, I'll try. There was another article that I was reading this morning that maybe is the reason why I didn't pull it up. Maybe it's... Oh, okay. No, I thought they changed the title. I was wrong.
Oh, cool.
In Minneapolis, I glimpsed the civil war. Right, here you go. And the gist of it is pretty clear. ICE is evil. Trump's waging war, blah, blah, blah. Their take is that they have experiences with civil wars and they're watching it. Now, I use it as a launch pad to show you what's going on and to talk about what's expected to happen. And I want to show you this clip first.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom feeding.
I want the crash to come, man. It can't come fast enough. I know that's a horrible thing to say. I'm not prepared for it currently, but just anything to end with slop over again. It's our team, their team, left, right, liberal, conservative, blah, blah, blah. I cannot do it anymore. That's what we talk about on the show. And I'll talk about it after the stream. I'm trying to control myself and trying just to react. It's just, we got this clip of the liberals. We got this clip of the right. We'll just react and fight and fight and fight and fight. Nothing gets changed. We have one politician, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, left. We have one good person, maybe two, maybe Rand Paul, but even him. But we're not talking about that tonight. We're not talking about the total corporate capture of our country. We're not talking about the total Zionist capture of our country. Notice how we're talking about race and crime and the riots. And I get the riots as a topical news. They should have led with that. They notice how they did not.
Morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom feeding Klingoners that surround him. I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former
Jim Acosta
MPD police officer.
Jim Acosta, man, these people come out of the freaking woodwork.
Who almost got killed on January 6th. You know, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this.
So we've got prosecute Trump and the people around him. Okay. Then we have this.
Saying, show me the man. I'll show you the crime.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. You know what I'm going to do first? I want to pull up this tweet from me because I was seeing a bunch.
I want to promote myself.
Of things going on in Minneapolis. And so I'm just sitting there and then I was thinking about it. I tweeted out. I ex-posted. What I'm seeing in Minneapolis is crazy. They're attacking pedestrians. They're storming churches. And then I get this flag, a potential community note, saying that there's no evidence any of this is actually happening. So I've got it right here. Here's the tweet. The things I'm hearing out of Minneapolis are insane. Activists forcing their way into churches, attacking random pedestrians, stalking SUVs. WTF is going on? Rate the proposed community notes. Okay, what did they say? There is no verified evidence of activists forcing entry into churches or broadly attacking pedestrians in Minneapolis. Local police and major news outlets report no such pattern and urge reliance on confirmed information. Aside from the fact that there's videos of them storming the churches, we've showed you photos of it already. Harmeet Dillon says she actually is pursuing charges. And then there's this, a video of a pedestrian being attacked for wearing a hoodie that says freedom. And that looks like an Indian guy.
Yeah.
And see, like, seeing this stuff makes me mad too, right? But you got to understand, it's designed to make you mad, so you zero in and you focus on it. You can't see the forest for the trees and what's actually going on. It's great if everyone's doing reactionary media. I'm not going to use the C word. I will not say it. It's great if everyone's doing reactionary media because they can make AdSense off it and get money off it and get mad and feel like they're doing something patriotic for themselves, left or right. Ultimately, this is what's going to take the country down. And what's going to take the country down is not the interaction happening here. It's the interaction of tens, hundreds, millions of Americans watching this, focusing in on this, zooming in on this, and not talking about the complete capture of our government.
On this one. Could this be construed as a sexual assault?
Yeah, like take it off.
They're making a guy take his hoodie off in the winter. And
don't take the hoodie off, man. Take the beating like a man.
Soda.
I mean, look at it.
Dude, and see, it makes me mad too, man. Makes me mad too. I get it. I understand it. This is slop. This is very, very refined, high grade slop, but this is also slop. Even if it's real, it's slop.
I got you.
My bigger complaint is that hoodie doesn't fit him.
Get your ass up out of here. For the left, and I love it. You know.
So here's a pedestrian getting attacked because his hoodie said freedom. Here's a video of white people. They're eating lunch, and activists think they look like ICE and begin, let's just say, berating them and threatening them.
This is so cool. I mean, so cool as in
This has got to be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I know, it's like you feel like a zoo.
I've never. So in the picture.
Why are you? Because you're filming us. Cheers.
So you can't really hear what they're saying, and the whistling's really loud, but he's saying we do app development for a variety of businesses, and we don't even support ICE. You hear people say several times, if you're not with us, you're against us. I got to say, the whistling really sounds very short bussy. You know,
it is a propaganda film.
I mean, like, it's a
So
group
true.
of really dumb people just blowing whistles, and I'm just like, well, I think they're all retarded. Here's another video. Here's a video. This is Commander Bavino confirms anti-ICE rioters are destroying private vehicles of civilians, thinking they're ICE. Mayor Frey and Tim Walz haven't said a freaking word to help put a stop to this. So that's going on. And then what do we have here? We have this Hakeem Jeffries adding on. We're going to get some indictments. We're going to charge people.
We're going to do Q&A after this. I'm going to talk to you guys. May even do call-ins.
Here's Jake. This is Jake Lang, right? That's his name. Jake Lang getting attacked by a bunch of leftists.
I heard that this guy was dragged into the crowd and stabbed. Is that true?
He said that someone tried stabbing him, but they hit his vest, so he didn't get injured. That's my understanding. So anyway, the point is this: on the podcast, they're saying you're going to jail. And on the streets of Minneapolis, they're beating people, destroying random vehicles, stealing rifles out of federal agents' vehicles, and threatening pedestrians. There's a video, a photo going viral where it's allegedly from Will Stansel saying there's a SUV with press written on the back, and he's like, "You need to pull over for us and give us your credentials because you are acting like ICE." They've begun to act like de facto government authority, and I warned it was going to happen. Remember when I said you'll hear a doorbell ring? You'll go to the door and there'll be a clown through your peephole holding up a rainbow sheet of colored paper that says clown warrant on it. And he's going to say, "I'm the clown police. Open your door." And you're going to go, what? Like, you don't recognize clown police. You would not open the door for this person. These people are already saying, pull your car over. They're telling people in restaurants.
I do agree with this point.
They're harassing them. Who are you? What are you doing? We are getting to the point where you're going to walk down the street and some leftist with a communist badge or whatever is going to say, "You're being detained. We're in control now." And then again, if Democrats win, these people are on their side.
They're going to have the Obama 08 logo as an armband, marching down the streets enforcing Islam and socialism. But it is true. And here's the problem with Trump. This is why I didn't vote for him. I knew that this administration has no balls. Does not have the will to do it. And you want to know how you knew they have no balls? When Charlie Kirk got shot, they didn't do nothing to Antifa, to the far left, any of these people. And the problem is the administration is pissing them off. It's provoking them.
Well, that's kind of the party line, Mr. Fuentes. I'm not used to hearing that from you. So it's the radical left that killed him. So we got an official story believer. Really disagree with that.
Agitating them. The Letitia James stuff, the James Comey stuff.
That's quite interesting from Nick.
Poking the left in the eye, but they have no real way to use the federal government. They're not wielding it properly or efficiently. And so what Jim Acosta said, that is a little window into the future. The left is going to take back the House. They're going to subpoena everybody, impeach everybody, prosecute everybody. They're going to come in 28. Maybe they're going to win, and then they're going to bury us. Yeah. So the problem with Trump is he's barking up the wrong tree. You either destroy the left or they get in and then they destroy us. It's that simple.
Nick, do you think that these kind of videos are going to have any effect in the fall? Like
the giant rumble sign is super gay.
Because this is something that's broadly unpopular with the American people. And there's so much awful imagery for the left coming out. Do you think that this actually would affect people in midterms? I personally think that it would affect if it was a presidential election. Do you think that it'll get people?
Oh, it's going to affect the midterms. We can't vote the warmongers in. It's just going to be other warmongers that are going to take other rights from us. And these people we're going to vote in, they're better because they're going to take rights we don't care about. I mean, fuck you, bro. I'm agnostic. Oh, I don't believe in anything. Oh,
absolutely not. No, because these are left-wing people that are activated. And that's what happens when the incumbent is in charge. They always lose seats in the midterms. They always lose seats in the House in particular 2 years later. And that's because the left or the opposing party always gets animated and charged up. They get activated by those hot button issues. So these are the same people. These are the shock troops.
I would lay waste to this show.
For the legions of the blue wave, they're going to come in 26 in the fall, and we're going to get buried. What is it, like a 3-seat majority? We lose the House, it's curtains. They're going to jam up everything, and then they are going to destroy us. And the difference is the left does not play. No. They said, we need FU Democrats. That's all they've ever been. That's what Biden did. That's what this is going to be. And we are all toast when that happens. So for me, I look at the left, and people are saying, I saw that tweet. They said, well, Tim Walz isn't doing anything. Dude, Trump is the president. Isn't this our golden age? Bring in the feds, bring in the troops, shut it down. It's your country. But, you know, our people are not serious. They're playing games. They're giving speeches, doing interviews. They got to send in the troops and crush these people. That's what it's all about. But they're going to wait for them to march.
These activists have been disrupting law enforcement for a decade plus, and the repercussions are always slap on the wrist, minor charges, rubber bullets.
See, here's the thing. The people that make that guy take his jacket off in the street, those people should be in jail for assault. That is assault. Now, assault isn't battery. You don't actually have to touch someone, even though they do touch him in the video. You surround someone, you intimidate them, you have the implicit instant threat of violence of a mob, of a crowd. You're stripping someone. That's the police's job. Now, you can say the police department is corrupt and they work for the mayor and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole nother issue. We've reached a point now to where the only solution is to send the military in and further grow the power of the government. And I look at it objectively. I don't support any piece of it, any part of it. I don't support the protesters. I don't support the military going in there. I don't support ICE, I support the immigration and deportation operations going on, but I don't support the way they're being done. I really don't, and I want an operation that could have taken place over decades through administrations that could have been proven and couldn't have been good. It's all rage bait, deliberate rage bait. They set up these campaigns with people that don't know how to run them. Kristi Noem, the dog killer, she's the DHS secretary. Ice Barbie, I believe she even called herself that. So it's all deliberately designed to get us to fight with each other, to get us to hate each other, to make sure that things like deportation don't actually happen. Because what's going to happen? We're going to lose the midterms. I say we, just like Americans. We'll lose in general, Democrat or Republican. But we're going to lose midterms. We're going to lose 2028. And there'll be another 20 million illegals. And it won't matter anymore. And they'll be, oh, you didn't want them out. You don't like ICE. It's like, fuck you. Like ICE was created in 2003 alongside the Patriot Act. They want a civilian or military police force at home. That's not the National Guard, to crack down on civilians. And you better believe DHS would be the department taking your guns.
Is out enforcing real law. They're not doing crowd control, so they're armed with lethal munitions. And these activists, because they've never felt consequences, literally, quote, why did you have real bullets? Yeah. They think they're playing a game. They think they're playing cops and robbers.
I don't think we should send in the troops. I'll tell you why. I think that the goal of there's Saul Alinsky's.
Oh no, me and him are agreeing.
Rule for radicals. The left, the communist momentum wants the government to establish a fascist crackdown so they can say, see, we told you they're fascist, and then rally a communistic communal revolution against the government. That's
missing some points, but not a bad take. You know what? Maybe it should be the Ian show. Maybe Tim Pool should reside in a dog crate.
That's my main concern.
Well, Nick, I was gonna say, just as far too as like antagonizing the left. I mean, don't you think they would sort of escalate this way?
I know I'm a nobody. I don't know who this is.
Anyway, even with or without Trump in office. Because like I look at the Trump administration, I'm like, look, whatever concerns anyone.
The hat says be good news on it.
May have. It's at least buying us time. It's giving us breathing room. And for me, that means it's worthwhile to throw support behind. I mean, like negative migration is like huge, I would say, going forward.
I don't feel a lot of breathing room right now. And I think that, there's arguments that like, well, when a Republican's in charge, it buys us time to organize and do things like that. But it's like Elon bought Twitter when Biden was in charge. Censorship got relaxed when Biden was in charge. I feel like the right was never more powerful than a year ago or 2 years ago in 2024. That's when we were at our like apogee. And when Trump gets in power,
agree.
It's the opposite. Like all the censorship happened in Trump's first term. Charlottesville happened in his first term. BLM happened in his first term. The vax was created in his first term. And, you're right. The left probably would have gotten charged up anyway. I think, though, that let's say Trump lost the election in 24. Kamala gets in. I don't think they have as much momentum because the difference is if it's like a continuation of the Democrats, there's still this like right-wing anger saying this is an illegitimate government. Kamala never won a primary. If she brings us to war, doubly so, no one believes the election's legit. But Trump wins. And now the right wing is complacent because the right wing says, we won, let's go home. You think people are doing something with the breathing room. They're not. The left is breathing. The left is getting excited. And
it's true. And that's the pendulum. And, I don't think we ever considered this before. Maybe the goal of the pendulum is just to swing and swing and swing forever. And maybe that's by design. Maybe we should reject that. Maybe we should reject it.
I would have supported Trump if I had confidence that he would use what he gets to actually like blow up some of these agencies and departments, prosecute the left, deport 10 million people. But it's like we're playing games, waiting for them to get back in power, and then they don't play games. That and to your concern about, the communists are going to rally. It's like if we get a fascist takeover, they're all going to jail. Like identify these people, put them in jail.
Yes, I do.
Watch them, monitor them. If they did it to the right, we could do it to the left. I think we need to play to win, because if we just wait around for them to use power, they do. They're not worried about being fascists.
Yeah. I think what you're describing predicts Democrats will take over. They will begin to go tenfold harder than we've already seen them go, which is insane. I mean, they arrested Donald Trump several times and his lawyers. The right will then have a massive reaction. If this does come to full-scale civil war, it seems that the prediction is it will be with Democrats in control of government and right-wing splinter groups at the state level, breaking apart, which I think was Rudyard's prediction of policy. Is that what he said, or did he? Yeah, he said the people's. What did he say? Like the People's Congress would be in Austin or something, and then
yeah.
I think I could be wrong. So Rudyard, correct me. I think he was saying the Democrat faction would be in D.C. and the conservative faction would be in Austin. And those would be the main centers of resistance. And then I argued at the time, because I think it was just after Trump won, that it would actually be the Democrats would be New York and the Republicans would be D.C. Based on your argument, I'm not so sure anymore exactly what would happen, but it does seem like you were right. The right won't fight because they view it very hierarchically. Trump is in charge. It's over. We won.
Yep.
The Democrats are decentralized, and they're like, we're going to just rip everything to shreds at every granular level. And so you need that grassroots right now for local elections to help Trump win, especially in the midterms. It's not there.
Did you see, instead of voting for Trump, did you vote for somebody else?
No, I just didn't vote. I just held back because I think that, it was established going into this that Trump wasn't going to be serious. He wasn't going to keep his promises. And the Republicans need to know that they need to pander to their base, not just the other side, not to the middle, not to the minorities, these non-conventional GOP voters. They need to appeal to the far right. And this is why we're getting what we're getting. And, by the way, Trump is getting rich off this. Trump got rich off Trump coin. Kristi Noem is getting rich off DHS. Corey, all these people are making tons of money off the contracts. Meanwhile, you got this kind of stuff going on. And it's like, at the end of the day, Trump can pardon himself and all his people. We don't get pardons. We're boned. When the left gets in, there's no refuge. We're just screwed. So I just wish that, everything that they say about Stephen Miller and Trump and Vance was true, because what they say is when Charlie Kirk got shot, Stephen Miller got up at his thing and said, we build things. You are nothing. We're coming after you. All that talk, all that flapping his gums on TV, and then, you're getting made to be the bitch in Minneapolis, in Trump country. They're storming churches, blowing up hotels, going outside ICE hotels, blowing their stupid whistles. It's like, we should bury these people right now, but, they won't do it. They're playing games.
I think, I just wonder, as they've argued, Biden's pardons are absolute and Trump can't do anything about it. What would happen if Trump did a blanket, anyone who ever voted Republican is hereby pardoned of all crimes and all sentences commuted?
Yeah, they'll ignore it. The left will absolutely say that.
I know. It would be interesting because if Trump did that, and let's say it's December 20th, something he does this, he's like, I got 1 month left. It would be honored until that month later, but that would release everybody.
Yeah. There's no question that if Trump, I'm sure that at the end of Trump's term, he's going to do a bunch of pardons, trying to cover his bases, and they're going to ignore it. They're going to come up with some way to delegitimize him, and they're going to just wrap people up. There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. If JD Vance or whoever's the guy, that the conservative.
We'll see though. There's a few things that are happening that I think indicate a tidal change, and we'll go this route. Maybe I can pull up this as a lead. You guys see the cease and desist on the TPUSA story?
Yeah.
So let me pull this up from the greatest news agency of all time, Times of India, because they actually write these stories. Terrible ideas. Candace Owens blast TPUSA legal letter claim as Erica Kirk and YouTuber fuel fresh controversy. So this is a story about a guy who, oh, hey, look.
Hey, who's that handsome guy?
You made it.
There's a YouTuber who made a bunch of ridiculous claims about the finances of TPUSA, who claims to be an accountant. He argued that they were paying they were sending money to a parking lot. The parking lot was obviously just the parking lot of a major business complex, but saying parking lot is sensational. So they sent him a cease and desist letter. Candace Owens came out and said it was a terrible idea. But there are questions even now people are asking about, particularly someone super chatted about if Candace Owens is to destroy the moderates on the right, why would we have Nick Fuentes on, for example? Well, for all of the criticisms people have of you, you were calling out Candace Owens quite early on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think what's happening is, whether intentional or otherwise, let me start here. In the previous segment, we were talking about what's going to happen when Democrats take power. They're going to lock people up. There's an argument that there's going to be a title change, and that's CBS. So you've seen what's happened with CBS.
Yes.
Barry Weiss took over. CBS has now started to balance their coverage. It's pretty bland, which is what it's supposed to be. But Barry Weiss is a proud Zionist. Candace Owens is as anti-Zionist as you could be, but also nuts. The bifurcation that's being created, whether intentionally or otherwise, make that argument all you want, is that the corporate press at CBS now, which is one of the most viewed news companies and programs that in the country and in the world probably, is, I'll give you an example. On the Somali daycare fraud, the story came out and said 62 convictions, 92 arrests from the Biden DOJ. Somali fraud is real. And I'm sitting here being like, well, okay, there we go. Like, it's real. While CNN says investigators claim daycares are running totally normally, still doing their weird woke liberal take or whatever. The play that seems to be happening, again, whether intentional or otherwise, is that for some reason Candace Owens is recommended to regular people who aren't involved in politics. And you'll go on a YouTube. They're telling you to watch Candace Owens' show. She's telling you that Charlie was a time traveler, that Elon Musk is a robot. These are not exaggerations. Charlie may have been a time traveler, and that agents were trying to stop him from changing an outcome. It's really gotten to the insane level. If this
I'm just letting it play, guys, or else we'll never get through it.
Continues, and I want to stress this. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. Its intention is meaningless. Candace Owens is capturing the anti-Zionist faction and saying stupid retard things. CBS News is targeting the moderates who left the left and joined the Republicans. I actually think this may show a uniparty shift in that they've realized, for the sake of the military-industrial complex, for the sake of Israel, TikTok we see this with, going the woke route has failed them. So now they want to poison the anti-Zionist faction with stupidity, as dumb as the woke people are saying. I don't call it woke right, though. It's not the same thing. And they want the moderates, the Tim Pools, the Joe Rogans to be like, oh, what CBS is doing is fantastic, run by a proud Zionist who's going to have that slant. This says to me that I'm not so sure Democrats get into power and actually start doing all of these arrests. Sounds to me like what's going to happen is the narrative shift is happening as such so that the MAGA people will be turned into the correct military-industrial complex establishment faction, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, it's been happening to me. The more I get opened up to the liberal economic order, I guess sort of take it as like you got BRICS and you got the liberal economic order, and they're both vying for control of the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal. And so they set up shop. What's that?
And Greenland for the same reason.
Greenland. They set up shop in the Middle East. And I'm like, look, I don't like being Israel's bitch. I don't want to be another country's bitch. I don't get sucked into war for regime change, but I understand American hegemony and controlling that Suez Canal. And I'm like,
Greenland is for the Northwest Passage. Panama is for the Panama Canal. Israel is for the Suez Canal.
So okay, Nick. I to be honest, I don't know what your thoughts are right now on everything, but that's kind of where my head's at. Is like maybe I should allow for this military conquest of the Middle East and be happy that we have.
But attaching that to, do you think this vibe shift? Right, Trump's going.
Yeah, let me know when you guys are done with this, because I'm literally on Twitter right now. I'm browsing Twitter. I just want to get through this so that like we can say that we did it. And I know probably a lot of you want to see this, even though it's like watching paint dry, even though it's like the commenter said, it's all small talk, literally all small talk
for Greenland. And they're acting like
he's too scared to get in an argument with Nick about anything. He's terrified.
Angry about
this guy met with Netanyahu. Come on, Nick, attack.
About it. I'm pretty sure the military-industrial complex loves what Trump is doing.
Oh, yeah.
Venezuela.
100%. And that's because, the military industrial complex is permanent. It's a permanent bureaucratic state. And so the goals never change. And, what has happened, what's remarkable about Trump is one of the only things that has staying power about Trumpism is the pivot against China. Because Trump runs in 2016 and says, no, China's a real threat. We have to end free trade, put tariffs on them, and seriously confront them in the Pacific. And if you look at the Biden administration, that's one of the only things that holds over is the tariffs against China, arming Taiwan, sending Pelosi over there, actually undoing strategic ambiguity about whether we would defend them.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Greenland, Venezuela is the Newman Road Doctrine. That's Laura Richardson, who was the CENTCOM commander under Biden. That's like a Biden era policy to push China out of Latin America. So they love seeing Maduro go. Greenland is sort of the same thing. Now that the North Pole is melting, like you said, all these sea routes are opening up, the Northwest Passage, Northern Sea Route, the Trans-Arctic Sea Route, and Greenland is going to be really good real estate. And the reason Trump wants it is because if Denmark owns it, they can't defend it. If they can't defend it, China's going to take it. I mean, they got designs on it.
And it's hard for us to tax and control the rates for ships moving through our passage.
Well, and I think more importantly, if it's not our clay, China and Russia won't take it seriously. Just like with Ukraine. Ukraine wasn't a NATO member, so Russia tested. They pushed the line. Greenland is, it's Denmark, but it's semi-autonomous. Is it protected by Article 5? Will Washington go to war with China if there's an incursion in Greenland? They will test it. So it does need to be our territory. And you're so on the money about that. It's Panama. I wouldn't even say Suez. I would say Red Sea. Because what's happening is in Yemen, there's a battle between the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. In Somalia, it's a battle with Somaliland and Mogadishu. And the Emirates and Israel are backing up Somaliland because they want a port there. In Sudan, the Emirates are backing the Rapid Support Forces. They want a base at Port Sudan. They want to control the Red Sea. Yep. So, and Iran, it's the Strait of Hormuz. So it does all come down to these choke points, and all the countries are lining up in World War III, basically China versus the United States.
It seems like there's a conflation between the Zionist movement of creating a homeland for the Jews and the military-industrial complex's alignment to control the Suez and the Red Sea. And that maybe what you're saying, that there might be a flip in the narrative too. Now I'm a proud controller of the Middle East, whatever you want to call it.
So I have a lot of friends.
Oh, he almost says Zionist. Let's watch that again.
Proud.
Oh,
and that maybe what you're saying, that there might be a flip in the narrative too. Now I'm a proud.
What a coward, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what the whole show is. The whole show is watching people tap dance around topics they don't really want to talk about. And we've watched an hour of this, an hour plus.
Controller of the Middle East, whatever you want to call it.
So I have a lot of friends who are very Israel critical. And I think
these are morons.
It's always fine.
I've met him. He's not smart.
And it's funny because there's Israel derangement syndrome. And these are the people who claim that, like Candace Owens, or the people who claim that Charlie was murdered by Israel derangement syndrome. Like Charlie.
Oh, okay. All right. So notice. So you have, we have people in the comments defending Candace Owens. I've done an entire episode on this. I watched all the podcasts for the last month, and I did an episode. This was like 2 weeks ago, covering the Fort Huachuca Waka Blaka. You have a perfect scenario. Whereas, number one, you have a group of people that go, it's the radical left. It's radical left. They killed Charlie Kirk. And then on the other side, you got Ancient Aliens, Fort Huachuca, Mitch Snow. And then in the middle, which is the truth, which is probably definitely a Zionist organized hit, in my opinion, in my view. That's all speculation. You're not actually allowed to question the event anymore because you're pinned between two extremes. And that's the same way it works writ large with the country, with all these issues they're talking about. They're like, look at this poll. Look at this poll. And it's like the problem is in the middle.
Just got an award by Israel. He did a panel with, I think it was with Andrew Colvett, to try and convince young Gen Z to support Israel. Was it like 2 months before he was murdered? Mm-hmm. So that's Israel derangement syndrome. Criticizing a government and focusing on a government I've never had a problem with. But what's happening now with Candace is she's sucking all the air out of the room and sounding like she's retarded. And so, again, the point being with CBS.
Okay, I'll find the timestamp of that later. That's a key moment where he does the Zionist Freudian slip.
Barry Weiss is looking like a genius, fixing a broken news that was biased towards weird woke things like child sex changes. And I think whether it's intentional or otherwise, I don't know. But again, I love what CBS is doing. Like when I'm pulling up articles now and I'm trying to track, say, like the riots and stuff, CBS is a literally balanced article explaining it where I can say, hey, guys, don't look at me. It's a CBS. It's not some.
Oh, look, Tim Pool's the guy that rages against that corporate media. He's like, we're new media. We're independent as Timcast. It's great. And look how he glazes and sucks off Barry Weiss and CBS. And look, it's not me. It's CBS. It's authoritative. They're under new management now. It's people we trust. Barry Weiss, Larry Ellison paid her like his son, whatever, paid her like over $100 million for her show, the size of like a Due Dissident show, which is still, it's a big show, but like 16K views is not, it's not 100 mil. But see, Tim Pool's ready and lined up. He's got his talking points, ready to support that. And look, he's societally, he's politically programming his audience. And I'm sure he talks about CBS like this, like every other episode. Oh, they're valid, they're good. It's not me saying CBS. We can really trust them. They're really great. He even tweeted out how awesome they were. I mean, this is transparent. Look at this. Look at this mug. You trust this? I know I'm a bit ugly looking too, but good grief.
Right-wing publication. It's not some activist. It's a corporate news outlet saying this. So I think what she's doing is fantastic. Again, with the purchase of TikTok, I think they realized this is funny. The one time Democrats and Republicans come together, TikTok after October 7th had a huge surge that appears inorganic to be promoting anti-Israel content in favor of Palestine. Whether that's true or not, we don't know, but it does look like it because it was a massive shift in a matter of a couple of days. Democrats and Republicans all of a sudden agree TikTok must be owned by the United States. Just right when this happens, it's very obvious the issue was Israel. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, Donald Trump doesn't care, in my opinion, one way or the other. He wants to be supported. He wants to do what's most popular thing. I think he cares about tariffs. I think he cares about the border. But on the foreign stuff, he's like, just you tell me what to do. That's right. I think the military-industrial complex, which with its ancillary arms, however you want to describe it, MI6, Mossad, U.S. deep state working together, Five Eyes Spy, all that stuff. They're basically like, okay, if we want support for Ukraine,
it's horrible. It's brutal on the ears. I totally agree with you.
Want support for Israel, if we want Venezuela, if we want Greenland, child sex change is costing us elections. Why don't we drop that stuff, pull the moderates back in our boat, prop up somebody who makes the people who oppose us sound like they're retarded? That's what seems to be happening.
Well, I would say that what happened, because I'm totally in agreement with you. You know, there was a statement that was given to the World Jewish Congress about 25 years ago in the 1990s. They call it the State of World Jewry. That's a speech. And it was given by some Jewish activist. And he said that the American Jewish community is inseparable from Israel. He said, and when Israel gets sick, American Jewry catches a cold. And that's basically what happened after October 7th, is that Israel's attacked by the Palestinians. And what they saw is that the far left, the radical progressives at Harvard and elsewhere, they supported Hamas. They were sympathetic to the Palestinians. And so all of a sudden, these like left-wing Democrat Jews like Bill Ackman, Sean McGuire, and some of the other notable ones, I'm thinking about who's the other guy, the tech guy, Jacob Hellberg, was one of the first like little tech guys to max out his contribution to Trump in March 24. These are all, and many of them gay too, by the way. Like Jacob Hellberg is like a gay liberal Democrat. All these guys are lifelong Democrats, but after October 7th, they flipped and became Republicans. And it's because Israel's attacked. And they said, oh, and literally Bill Ackman publishes this open letter to Harvard. Oh, I have this epiphany. The left has gone too woke. Censorship is out of control. Harvard needs to have reform. They overthrow Claudine Gay at Harvard and install a Jewish doctor. You know, that's literally who replaces him. And I think that they're sliding into CBS on much of the same kind of sentiment. They're sort of drafting behind the conservatives. These like Jewish people realize that the Democrats are beholden to the radical left that are at least going to restrain the Democrat support for Israel. Like in the Biden administration, you know, the Biden National Security Council was drafting memos saying you can't give 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. And there were Senate Democrats that wanted oversight. So they said, if we want an all-out pro-Israel policy, Republican Party is open for business. And so that's when all the money came in. And the other thing is, it's Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is tight with Netanyahu. He funded the CBS takeover. He funded the TikTok takeover. He's a donor for Trump, and he's basically a conservative. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that so much of the pro-Israel stuff has a home in the GOP. They're inextricable. You don't get one without the other. And my issue with it is that a lot of Republicans think we are making a deal with them. And the deal is something like, okay, we'll be pro-Israel and we'll do some pro-Israel things. In exchange, we get Republican governance. But we are not in control of this relationship. Miriam Adelson is. Ellison is. They get their back scratched. We don't get ours scratched. We went to war with Yemen. We bombed Iran. We're going to bomb them again. Do we have mass deportations? Do we have charges for Democrats? No, we don't have anything. So that's my issue with it is people think it's like this deal, and Israel's like Bane. They come in and they're like, do you feel in charge? It's like, no,
You think this gives you power over me?
Yeah.
Well, I look at it like I think the deal is the bigger picture is the liberal economic order. Control the financial systems and all of these things. I think that the people you mentioned, like, Bill Ackman and stuff, and he writes this big letter, and we all praised it. We're like, thank you for saying the right thing. And obviously the reason was that he realized these far left activists hate Israel and you're going to vote Democrat. They're going to start going that direction, which is what Biden was kind of doing. I think the stuff Trump promises, I think Trump initially is like, yes, I like these things, but I think there is a deep state. I think there's special interests across the board. The liberal Jewish donors and Jewish Democrats now are siding with the Trump administration in many ways because they realize that their cause had lost. I think now the deep state and the military-industrial complex are pressuring the Trump administration. I don't look at it like Israel is controlling everything we do. I look at it like they're a powerful special interest that teamed up with the military-industrial complex. And the things Trump says are just whispering sweet nothings into your ear that you were never going to get in the first place. So when it comes to this, the bigger picture I'm mentioning with, will Democrats start arresting people on the right? The reason I think the answer is no is because
I am so sorry. You're so right.
This has become the home for the establishment. It's becoming the home for the establishment, invading foreign countries, taking more land, propping up the SWIFT payment system, the petrodollar. And they were never going to give you these things anyway. So there's no real reason to arrest people who won't protest anyway. They'll vote for Trump and Trump will just do.
I'm just playing it at this point. I'm totally spaced out.
What the machine wants him to do for the most part. So why actually go and arrest anybody? I think the zeitgeist will shift. I think
we will do reaction in a little while.
That you're going to find the Joe Rogans, the moderates being like, hey, look, the press is finally cleaning up their act. Everything's good now. They don't care about foreign policy. They're going to go back to watching the game.
I don't know. I mean, Joe Rogan said it's the Gestapo. He said ICE is the Gestapo.
Let me know in the chat when I get a bunch of like, we're done with this in the chat, I will end this. Let me know. I might take calls. Like I will take calls if y'all let me know right now you're done with this. This is horrible.
That was fake news.
Oh, he didn't say that?
So I got caught by this too. And then I think it was Brianna Morello who put up the correct thing. What he said was, he's like, well, on the right, you've got people saying, why are we allowing these criminals to do these things? You've got rapists and murderers. We've got to use the law enforcement to get them out. And we voted for this. And then on the left, you have people saying, we got masked thugs going through our neighborhoods like the Gestapo. They cut the beginning off to make it seem like Joe Rogan was calling the ICE the Gestapo.
At the same time, though, he has said other things where he said, we're not just getting the violent criminals, we're getting all illegals. And he basically said he doesn't support that mass deportation policy.
And he voted for Trump.
He did. But I think that people like Joe, they represent like a disgruntled normie, because I think Joe is kind of like a center-left guy. He's like a civil libertarian, pro-weed, social liberal, etc. Wokeism pushed him into Trump's arms.
Exactly.
And he saw in Trump what he wanted to see in Trump. Now that Trump is governing, he's trying to gesture towards the far right or like his base, the radical right. Now guys like Joe and Theo Von and Tim Dillon, they're kind of getting rubbed the other way. Yeah. And they're saying, oh, I don't know, they seem undisciplined. This seems too hardcore. It's brutal, whatever. And to me, that feels like deja vu from Trump's first term, where it's like, people voted for Trump to burn it all down. They were sick of the PC, sick of the wokeness, etc. Trump comes in, and what the left does is they kick up so much dirt. They make it so ugly and messy that then normies cry out for normalcy. And they say, oh, everything's just so controversial and contentious. Let's just go back to business as usual. And they kind of acquiesce to the left.
When you say normies, are you talking about like conservatives as well?
When I say normie, I just mean people that are not like I would say I'm like on the far right and others on the far left. I see normies as kind of like unaligned. They could go either way,
Right. Well, Nick, wouldn't you say like with the high profile Jewish defections to the Trump camp, wouldn't you say there's more to do with the left or the Democrat Party just becoming like broadly third worldist? And because like the criticism of Israel coming from the left is vastly different than from the right. Or from the right, they're wanting to decouple from Israel for a variety of reasons. But from the left, from my perspective, just seems like pure resentment.
Interesting.
No, absolutely not. To me, what it echoes
Wouldn't you say it has more to do with the left or the Democrat Party just becoming like broadly third worldist? And because like the criticism of Israel coming from the left is vastly different than from the right. Or from the right, you know, they're wanting to decouple from Israel for a variety of reasons. But from the left, from my perspective, just seems like pure resentment.
No, absolutely not. To me, what it echoes is what happened in 73. Because you know that October 7th is 50 years to the day after the Yom Kippur surprise attack in 1973.
Really?
October 6th, 73.
Okay, I'm just going to break it down because this is annoying at this point. So whoever the guy's name is, no offense to the dude, like I'm not important at all either, as you are as well. I don't know why you're in the room with Nick on a microphone, but the point that he makes, like, I don't know where it comes from, man, because like the conservatives and the liberals, they have different positions on Israel, bro. What it comes down to is people on the right don't like Israel because we've ceded our sovereignty to them. We fight wars on their behalf. And then people on the left have been raised to hate colonialism, and Israel's the ultimate colonialist project. So that's what it is. People on the right are mad at sovereignty and taxes paid to Israel. People on the left are mad at the colonialist behavior. It's the only ethno-religious state allowed. So that's what it is. And just a little more time in the political arena, you'll be able to boil things down like that. And go back.
Was when Egypt and Syria attacked Israel. And what was happening in the 70s is very similar. The Soviet Union put out a resolution in the General Assembly, and they said, Zionism is racism. That was the Soviet Union backed that. And then they were supporting Egypt and Syria invading Israel. And so these are all these like Jewish liberal intellectuals in New York. This is their mugging by reality because they said, wait a second. Now they're left wing, they're liberals, but they said, hold on. The Soviet Union says Zionism is racism. The Soviet Union's backing Egypt and Syria. They're saying the Soviet Union is not our friend. Now they're still liberal, but they say the Soviet Union has to be destroyed because otherwise Israel will be under siege ideologically and militarily. That's exactly what happened here, which is that the far left is saying that Israel is a settler colonialist state. You know, it's a aircraft carrier for the United States, this, that, and the other. And you also have the left backing Iran, wanting a rapprochement, giving them the pallets of cash, the $6 billion, all this kind of stuff. And so, no, I think it's purely out of self-interest for Israel. And you know that because, you know, when they go to the Republican Jewish coalition, Mark Levin says, you know, you got Muslim communists on one side. He goes and you got the KKK and the Nazis on the other. They don't draw a distinction between the third worldists on the left and the so-called identitarians on the right, like me. They criticize Israel for the right reasons. And by the way, they're still basically like center-right liberals, like Sean McGuire, Bill Ackman. These guys are not white nationalists now. They're like 90s liberals. And they get mad at Trump when he wants mass deportations. You know, so it's not like they became base defenders of Western civilization. Unless you're Sean McGuire, who said we should self-consciously pretend to be defenders of Western civilization because normie Republicans don't give a shit about Israel. But if we gesture towards the West, then we're going to get them on our side. So I think it's a very subversive, when you really peel back the layers. Barry Weiss, Yoram Hazony, they only care about Israel. She's an Israeli spy. Yoram Hazony lives in Israel. That is what they are about.
You think Barry Weiss is an Israeli spy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you know her pedigree, absolutely.
What is it?
So after high school, she went to Israel and did a fellowship and said she learned how important Israel is. She goes to Columbia University, where she starts up the David Project and tries to get all these pro-Palestine professors fired in the Middle East Studies Department. Goes back to Israel, studies under Yoram Hazony at the Shalem Center. Then she gets hired right out of that program by Bret Stephens, who's like one of the most well-known neocons, got to start at Jerusalem Post, then Murdoch owned Wall Street Journal. He picks her up as her mentor. Then he takes her to the New York Times. That's where she gets her start. Then she starts Free Press and she gets money from Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Joe Lonsdale. Joe Lonsdale's like a super Zionist.
Is Peter Thiel?
Oh, yeah. He's in business with Alex Karp, who said his biggest fear is Christian nationalists are going to defenestrate him.
Tim's like, uh-oh. And he's like, I don't want to talk about this.
Because he's a Jew. Yeah, throw him out of a window.
Yeah.
And you know, and
why is there
Teresa
a word
Horowitz
for that?
Yeah,
so funny.
Kind of funny. But so yeah, she's like, and then Larry Ellison buys CBS as part of Israel's Eighth Front campaign to control information, and she gets a $100 million payday for the Free Press and gets to run the newsroom, and then picks Tony Dokapil as the news anchor, who is the Zionist that attacked Ta-Nehisi Coates for his anti-Israel book.
Do you think that there's an effort at YouTube intentionally to prop up Candace Owens?
100%. Well, she's not banned.
She breaks the rules like crazy.
Yes, she's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple.
I agree.
As far as I'm concerned, she's never been banned from any of it.
Yeah, and again, it's you know, we've talked about like Pizzagate is a good example of how does an intelligence operation control for conspiracy theories. And so with Pizzagate, I'll give you the quick rundown. You get a bunch of emails released by WikiLeaks. In them, there's some weird things. An email that says something like, "Is it more fun to play dominoes on pizza or on pasta?" Now, nobody really knows what any of this means, but all of a sudden on 4chan, someone just claims this means children, and they're talking about pedophilia. They then point to a pizza place, claiming it as a basement. There's no basement. What I think happened was the WikiLeaks emails revealed that they were doing drugs and having orgies and stuff, which is what we heard from who's the member of Congress who told us about a bunch of orgies? Do you remember that?
Cawthorn?
Yeah.
Madison Cawthorn.
Madison Cawthorn was saying they're doing it. Then we got that video of those two guys going at it in the Senate. I think what the WikiLeaks emails revealed is that they're talking about doing drugs and having orgies. And so the deep state's like, this will be nuclear for us in politics and controlling the narrative if this gets out. So they poison the well. They put fake information to drive the community in the wrong direction. Then a guy shows up at a pizza place, fires a round into the ground. There's no basement. He then surrenders, and everyone says, wow, you're all insane. With Candace, she's adopting the Charlie Kirk conspiracy stuff and making them sound like retards. And she's attacking Israel like crazy, but in the most retarded way imaginable. So for the people that live in this world of Israel bad, Israel derangement syndrome, she's become the biggest voice. And now they're sounding, I'll put it like this. I have met some.
Share the stream, guys. Repost the stream. We're going to do commentary. We're going to do another hour at least on this because this is just so crazy.
Really retarded people on the issue of Israel, don't get me wrong. And then I know a lot of people who are libertarians who are very much just like, the relationship we have with them is toxic for us. We shouldn't be funding them. I'm critical of their government. I think Dave Smith's great. He's a friend of ours. I'm a fan of his. He's very critical of Israel, and he's rational, reasonable, and he's funny as he does it. I know there are people who are pro-Israel who don't like him. I have friends who are pro-Israel who don't like him, but at least that conversation is coherent. Candace is getting propped up recommendations, and there's nothing coherent about anything she says. And so again, the reason I say intention, you decide. But when I see these things happening, I'm kind of like, we don't need to think about conspiracies. We can just tell what the future is going to look like.
Yeah, well, when it comes to her, there's a word for this in our community, and it's called kookery. And Sam Francis was fighting against it. If you read Revolution from the Middle by Sam Francis, who is off the charts brilliant, friend of Jared Taylor, used to write for the Washington Examiner, he writes an essay and says the biggest enemy of what he called the middle American radical, or like the Trump base, that was his word for it. He said, are the kooks that believe everything is like the X-Files. You want to talk about immigration. You want to talk about AIPAC. You want to talk about real things. They want to talk about aliens, flat earth. They want to time travel. And there is this there's this temptation. If you believe in one conspiracy, you say, well, what else are they hiding? And there's this draw to just go further, more and more out there. And there's an essay by Cass Sunstein in 2008, him and a buddy. I believe he was from Harvard. He was an Obama speechwriter. And he said, how do we defeat the conspiracy theorists? Do we argue with them? No, we give them a platform. Do we censor them? No, we make them martyrs. He said, we unload the dog shit. And we put out a bunch of stuff that discredits them, and they start fighting amongst themselves. So like with 9/11, you can talk about dancing Israelis. That's real. He goes, well, what if we said there's holographic planes? There's no planes. Like there never were the Twin Towers, stuff like that. And then you get them all fighting. And they actually wrote that in Project Esther, Heritage Foundation's project to fight anti-Semitism.
Oh, yeah.
They said, we want to exacerbate the divisions and cleavages in the pro-Palestine movement. We want to turn them against each other. And what better way to do it than to start to say Israel's top guy, Charlie Kirk, was killed by Israel because he's a time traveler, and anyone that disagrees is an Israel shill. There it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Because I mean, that's what I see with the anti-Israel pushback on Israel, these sorts of things. Because oftentimes, I think for someone that's kind of new to the conversation, new to this entire topic, they end up seeing a lot of anti-American, third world rhetoric. Yes. That's why you saw with the Venezuela invasion, all these people got one shot at after October 7th, and they start exploring. Okay, maybe there's something here. They were like with Tucker, where he was like, oh, Venezuela's this brave, they're the last bastion against gay liberalism. And I'm just looking at this is obviously a pro-American move that in many ways, I mean, there is some geopolitical implications, but it's detached from the Israel situation. But since they again are getting a lot of their information from third worldist anti-Israel sentiment, it completely poisons the well for them.
That's so real. And it's funny you say that because I was watching something from Jeffrey Sachs and I was just disgusted. Jeffrey Sachs is a Jew, major liberal, Clinton administration guy. He's on Tucker and Judge Napolitano all the time. And he's always literally shaking. Netanyahu's a war criminal. This is the worst. and it's and all these people are yeah, totally agree. Then he goes to Serbia for this conference, and he's like, the 500-year cycle of European domination is over, and I couldn't be happier. This is awesome. It's China's turn. It's what the fuck? There's some liberal piece of shit. Same with Max Blumenthal. Same story, communist, liberal Jew, forever. Anti-Israel guys on the same shows, tight with Tucker. And when ICE shot that idiot liberal, he goes, this is terror capitalism. The Zionist plutocrats and their terrorist capitalism.
I'm not a fan of... Go ahead. Well, I'm such not a fan of Max Blumenthal. We had him on the show, and he was talking. It was right after October.
Oh yeah, I got to counter signal that. We can't talk about Max Blumenthal in a positive light. Oh, his dad was Israel. Oh, and it's everyone's critical. Everyone's critical. People that give high level information on things actually happening, like Max Blumenthal, like Pepe Escobar, like everyone really that Judge Napolitano has on his channel. Idiot chuds like this. I'm an agnostic and I have a metal band and I wear a hat and I sit under the Rumble sign on the Tim Pool show and I ask milquetoast questions that mean nothing to waste time. Like, who is this person? What is this person? What does this person stand for? Oh, I got to counter signal that.
Or something. He was talking about the attack on the rave. And I mean, I'm a musician, I've played shows, and I have friends that were at the Bataclan, and he was like, well, you know, they were just a bunch of druggies. And I'm like, you're just the biggest dirtbag I've ever seen. I couldn't handle it.
I got a question before we go to our super chats. If you were invited to a private meeting at the White House with Netanyahu, would you take it?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
I like being alive. You know?
I'd do it. Well, I did.
I want to have him on the show.
All right. He just said, I did. Temple just, and see, he's sneaking it out there. He's sneaking it out there. And these are the real conversations that I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear them talk about his little Chatham House Rules meeting with Mr. Netanyahu. But look at this. We'll replay this. Check this out, guys. And look at that sly look.
No.
You wouldn't do it?
I like being alive. You know?
I'd do it. Well, I did.
I do it, says Ian. I did, says Tim Pool. Wow. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky Tim Pool.
I want to have him on the show.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude.
You gotta be on that one.
I want to hang with B because we got to talk about Israel and Judaism. First of all you Jews out there, you can't have a religion and a culture that's the same name. You have to change the name. So be Israeli culturally, but then have Judaism as your religion. And if you don't believe in God, you're not Jewish. I know. Just reformat
you tell
your brain.
him, Ian. You explain to them.
Tighten ranks. Tighten ranks.
This is literally Goy slop.
As you know, I did. Yeah, they had a meeting, and I would take a meeting with any world leader comes to the White House. It was the Blair House, which is in the
You did take a meeting. You did meet with them. It's not that you would, it's that you did.
White House complex, I guess, or it's like the guest house. Who would say? I can't believe people would say no to that. You wouldn't. You wouldn't go?
No, no way. I really have nothing to say to him. You know, I mean, I see him as like a civilizational enemy of America, basically.
Wouldn't you want to say that?
Based
to him?
No, I say it on my show, but no, I don't.
He's seen clips. He's seen clips.
It was it was boring, and you know what, man? Like I've met with prominent people quite a bit, and
I'm Mr. Important. I'm Mr. Important. And you know, I've met with a lot of prominent people, and it's not a big deal. It's just they want to meet with me because of ideas and discussion. It's certainly not that I'm an agent of propaganda and I'm very good at my job. And Mr. Netanyahu wanted to congratulate me personally and give me instructions. It's not that at all. No. I mean, it's just I want to stop playing it, but like this we're entering the gym territory.
Boy, I got to tell you, there's something about these high-profile people in politics, or maybe it's like they're a big political podcaster. They never shut up.
I'm a Christian, truth and doubt. I'm not Jewish.
Up or let anyone else talk. You know what I'm saying?
People like that.
Yeah, you know, people that just never let anybody get a word in, and that's
crazy.
Yeah, who could be like that? No, but so in all seriousness, no, I've met with some prominent people at these private meetings, and
I had the private meetings with the prominent folks, and I'm gonna tell you about it all.
Occasions, and they talk about nothing. So Netanyahu spent like half the time talking about ancient Greece or something.
Dang,
dude.
And I'm just like,
even more.
And I'm just like, whoa, he's talking about ancient Greece. This is a real fascinating character. And look at whoever this guy's like, oh, yes, very, very interesting take, sir. Yes, Mr. Tim Pool, the person who signs my paycheck, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Tim Pool. I thought it was interesting when he started to talk about Diogenes and Alexander when he was in front of the barrel blocking the sun.
For that.
He was like,
serious too.
You need to understand the legal system as it was intended to be. And I'm like, I was sitting there just being like, I don't, why are you telling
I was there philosophizing on him.
me this? Like, why are you?
Well, he was talking about democracy, like the history of democracy.
Yeah, he was giving us a lecture on the history of democracy to explain about like why Israel is just or something. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, that's great. I'm an American.
Oh, that's great.
American. You know, so the meeting was
I'm an American.
Basically, and then he gets to the meat and potatoes. You need to go to war with Iran.
Yeah.
And the room was split. There were some people in there. I'm not going to call out the individuals in the room, the journalists and other personalities, because that's their business.
I ain't going to call anybody out. It was agreed that it was going to be a secret meeting and we weren't going to reveal our names. Of course, I ain't going to put anybody on blast. Now I'm a team player.
But some people were just like, looks Netanyahu dead in the eyes and they go, young people don't understand the brotherly, angelic connection America has with Israel. And I was just like, wow. And then there was another journalist from the same company who went, oh. And then when Netanyahu was like, listen, Iran does not care about us. They do not care about Israel. What do they say? Death to America. And then this other personality rolls her eyes. And then he goes, once they get the nuclear bomb, it's not for us. It's for you. And she immediately goes, no, it's not. He's like, they will lose it on you. And she goes, no, they won't. And it was actually pretty funny. So it was like the room was pretty split. And it was funny because it was Chatham House.
Now, the room was pretty split, and it's Chatham House rules, so it's all on secret. It's all off the record. But this totally real conversation I just invented in my head right here, I told you about it. That's what really happened in that room. That didn't fucking happen.
Rules. And
you sat there, yes, sir, Mr. Netanyahu. Yes, sir. What are my commands? Yes, sir.
The House Inhabit came in filming and posting pictures and everything. So it's like, and then some reporter misrepresented my statements and published them. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to play this game, that was dirty. What I had said to Netanyahu was their claims that Qatar is paying influencers to be anti-Israel. Do you have any evidence of that? Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't know. I said, okay. Like he literally didn't give me an answer. And then this journalist wrote, Tim Pool claimed Qatar was paying influencers to be anti-Israel. Mm. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
Low blow, G.
Yeah. And I was like, first of all, it's Chatham House. You're not supposed
man, that's a low blow, G.
Like,
oh,
that's ridiculous.
Low blow, G.
Yeah. And I was like,
oh, that's a low blow, fam. I mean, I don't even know how you tolerate something like that, brother. It's like who is this? Who?
Like, first of all, it's Chatham House. You're not supposed to be attributing this stuff to me. And I didn't. I said, this argument is happening. I also said, I told Netanyahu, I said, Israel will have no support from the United States in 20 years. I said, at the current rate of things, young people on the left are anti-Israel, like ideologically, and the right is anti-foreign intervention and doesn't want to be involved in your affairs. You go to any young person, they're going to say, I'm not interested in being involved in this.
I don't know. How do we decouple? If we were to decouple from Israel, isn't that just like throwing in the towel and being like, take the Suez, Russia, take global trade hegemony? Like, isn't that the end of American?
Yeah, but.
Oh, yeah. Simp, counter signal, clutch your chest. And this is self-soothing. That's what it's called. It's called self-soothing. That's what you do when you're stressed out and you're afraid of something.
The point is we have a major military hub.
I got to get my cheeseburger. I'm going to let it play. I know it's probably going to be a bunch of like actually reactable stuff, but I got to go. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Off the Sinai Peninsula, which allows us ease of access, weapons development. When we deposit all these weapons in Israel, we have a massive arsenal right there, and the Red Sea as well. And then also with the Saudis giving them weapons.
Yeah, Nick, you mentioned it was like how did you say it? Just a threat to the United States, existential threat or whatever. But I'm like, how do we escape that connection at this point? The Israeli-American collusion or whatever you want to call it. Well, and should we?
What's funny is that they don't even really, they actually want to decouple. Like, I don't know if you saw, but Netanyahu said, we want to be done with American aid in 10 years. And this is an ongoing conversation. This is something
talks about that.
What's that?
Shapiro talks about
He does, yeah. And there was a symposium in Tablet Magazine, this Jewish magazine, I think in 2023. And the symposium was, should we suspend all U.S. aid to Israel? And it's all pro-Israel people debating. And the argument from the pro-Israel crowd, why should we get rid of the aid, is because it's golden handcuffs. Yep. Eventually, a progressive will take power in America, and they'll use the aid as leverage to restrain Israel. So, to your point, and to your point also, there does seem to be an overlap between distinct interests. And by that, I mean, there is a distinct U.S. deep state. Let's call it like a homeland force. And then you have the Israeli infiltrators, the ideological Zionists, Straussians, the pro-Israel lobby on the other side. Now, we both have an interest in, let's say, depriving Iran of a nuclear bomb, or maybe even of regime change. But I would say there's something more subtle going on, which is that the people in the Pentagon know we have to confront China. But if we confront China, we're going to need to rebalance our force posture in the world. And that means we can't fight Russia and Europe and fight Iran in the Middle East and fight China and Taiwan. We have to hand off the security responsibility to NATO. That's why we need to get their numbers up. That's why the collective security needs to be France, Germany, and the UK, not us. What do they want to do in the Middle East? Well, Netanyahu said in his address to the joint session of Congress, the Abraham Accords should become the Abraham Alliance. They want a NATO-like defensive pact with Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, Syria, Lebanon, eventually Iran, so that we hand off security to them. And who will run that defensive treaty? Israel, because they're the nuclear country. They have a qualitative military edge guaranteed by the U.S. Congress, the most F-35s, the rest of it, and the Mossad superintelligence. So they could do to the Saudis and the Emiratis what they did to the Iranians and Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they all know that. So in other words, when we hand off the Middle East to Israel, they are going to run the most important region in the world. If you know about geopolitics, that's the center of the world island, because that's the center of Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's BRI, that's IMEC, it's all of it. And then they become a true global power. That's a concern.
We're going to go to your Rumble rants and super chats. So smash that like button, share the show with every person you've ever met in your life. Call your parents, let them know you love them and that they should watch Timcast IRL. And we're going to go to that uncensored portion of the show at 10 p.m. at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Don't miss it. But before we get into all your Rumble rants and chats, we got some great sponsors. First up, we got Tax Network USA. Do you owe back taxes or haven't filed in years? Now's the time to resolve your tax matters with a national conversation around abolishing the income tax system, which would be awesome.
See, a true professional learns the plug and doesn't have to. Oh, come on, Rupert. My dog's in the studio. A true professional learns the plug and doesn't have to read off a plug sheet. That's midwit stuff.
The IRS is fighting back and proving it's here to stay by becoming more aggressive than ever before. They're sending out more collection notices, filing more tax liens, and collecting billions more than in recent years. If you owe, the IRS can take your wages, bank accounts, Social Security, retirement, and even your home. If you owe or haven't filed, it's not a question of if the IRS will act, it's when.
Bud,
Right now, Tax Network USA is offering a completely free IRS research and discovery call to show you exactly where you stand and what they can stop before it's too late. Their powerful programs and strategies can save you thousands or even eliminate your debt entirely if you qualify. Don't make a serious mistake representing yourself or calling the IRS on your own, waiving your rights, and cost you more money. They are not on your side. Get protected the right way with Tax Network USA and start the process of settling your tax matters once and for all today. Call 1-800-958-1000 or click the link below for your free discovery call with Tax Network USA. Don't the IRS be the first to act. We also have Venice.ai. Uncensored, privacy-oriented AI. For those that are using these tools, and I'm a big fan, you know I am, if you watch the Uncensored show, I'm always goofing off. Venice.ai is designed for privacy. I asked it, why right.
That's
They're going to be back to warm here. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally.
What do you have here? Flan the man says, tap sign, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
Indeed. Or if it does, it's very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, slow and boring.
slowly. And then
See, I don't want you to notice the decline. They don't want you to notice the societal change because they're making money off of it. They're making money off dividing you and doing these plugs and ad reads for companies that are owned by big corporations and big special interests. And of course, you get that kind of deal.
I mean, because that was the whole like I think about like South Africa, and they had like all these speculations of how it would collapse dramatically, but things just got
Still unaware of who this is. We're still trying to figure this out. Anyone in the chat know who this is?
like incrementally worse, and no one even really noticed. And so it's like, no, nothing ever happens. It just slowly happens, and then as decades go on, suddenly you turn around and you're living like in Dune or whatever.
Yeah. Dothadu says for balls for having on NJF would be $100, but you lost 90% value for the inexcusable delay. Well, to be fair, you were booked earlier and you canceled on us.
That is true.
See,
but I think they meant like the years.
Well, I've already explained that. And I've been completely honest. We would get banned in 2 seconds.
Man,
if we had
I wish I was on that show with you guys in Yay and Milo.
Yeah. He would have liked you.
Bro,
who is this goofy?
Banned in 2 seconds.
Man,
if we had
I wish I was on that show with you guys in Yay and Milo.
Yeah. He would have liked you.
Bro, we got along before the show too. That was awesome.
You did, yeah.
There is no secret, no excusing it. There's no excuse. The fact is, the reason I had said that we needed a news reason to have you on is because they would ban us. They banned our first Alex Jones episode, and they banned our Alex Jones
name dropping the GOAT
Joe Rogan episode. And I'm like, if he comes on, they're going to take the episode down in 2 seconds.
You got to unban Nick Fuentes, allow him to create content if he violates the term.
Ian should be growing mushrooms. He should be growing psilocybin in Colorado. He should not be on a podcast.
Terms, you can ban that channel, but you don't ban humans. You ban channels if they violate terms.
That should be the rule, but it's not. But anyway, more importantly, when YouTube was like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore, we're like, okay, we don't have the same thing to worry about. I'm not going to lie and pretend there's some, like, that's literally what happened. The challenge we face, it's actually quite simple. If the show gets taken down, what was the point of doing it?
Right.
So we can put on other platforms. We can go on Rumble, which we do, and we have the uncensored portion coming up now. And it's because YouTube is untrustworthy. When we did the Alex Jones Joe Rogan episode, we did everything right. We broke no rules. 3 years after it, they deleted it. I think it was like, I think it was 3 years later. Maybe I was outside of the castle at the time, so it might have been 2 years.
Yeah, they're currently like every once in a while I'll get a message from YouTube that they deleted.
This guy looks like a lab mouse that you like make run through a maze and stuff. This guy looks like a lab rat.
A song that I sang because of the content of it, and it's like stuff that I haven't done since 2020.
Yeah.
No reason.
There's very few people that were persona non grata that YouTube was like, we're going to delete right away.
Why? What?
I'm sorry for the burp. I know it was rude. It was an accident. I didn't mean to unpause. It was kind of just perfect timing.
What was it? What do you remember what it was? Like, was there a day you did one thing that was like, what?
Yeah, it was the Groiper War. It was, we were going after Charlie Kirk really hard in 2019. And the rumor that I heard, this is alleged, is that Arthur Schwartz, Don Jr.'s fixer, put in a call to Google and got my channel taken down. That was a rumor.
There's no arm tattoo. I had a biopsy done on just a little spot right here. I was worried about being skin cancer. It was just like a wart. That was like a year and a half ago.
rumor that I heard. I don't know if that's true, because we got Don Jr. booed off the stage at UCLA when he did a thing with Charlie Kirk. But they got me on hate speech or, whatever. They didn't give me a specific example, a show, whatever. They just pulled me out about 2 months after that happened.
Before we had Alex Jones on, I emailed our Google rep and said, I know Alex Jones is persona non grata. Is there an issue with him coming on Timcast IRL? And she said, no.
I'm much bigger and stronger and have much wider shoulders than Tim Pool. It's very offensive. The only thing we have in common is that we're bald and we have a beard.
Oh, he can appear on other shows, but he's not allowed to have his own channels. Okay. What was it? Like a day later, they deleted it? A day after. And so we were like, okay. I called up Michael Malice and Jones. And I said, you have to come back right now. I'm going to give a big middle finger to you.
I've met him in person.
We're going to do it again. And then that one stayed up. And, but we've had a series of personalities and you are like the most banned person. So it was just, we're going to get the show taken down. We needed something that was news relevant where we'd be like, we have to have Nick on. Otherwise they would just delete it. And even if we did, they still might delete it. In recent history, they've said we're relaxing on it, and we're like, okay, let's book Nick. We don't have much.
We'll pause on the arm tattoos next time he speaks. My bad.
To worry about. And we have Myron on, and there's that. You know what I don't tolerate?
Yeah, he was on Tim Pool twice, and we'll play this. I want to hear what Tim Pool doesn't. I don't tolerate this kind of behavior. I'm in charge. That's really what his bosses or masters, I guess would be the proper word, won't condone or won't allow. But yeah, my dad was on Tim Pool twice. Both times Tim Pool was giggling about the donations and in it for the money, really, in my opinion, in it to really take advantage of my father when he's very drunk and try to meme on him and make fun of him. But of course, my dad is so cool and likable that Tim Pool came off as the asshole.
And I don't care for. I know I'm going to get a lot of people being like, why would you he said he liked Stalin and Hitler and all these other things. And I'm like, bro, we've had on communists who are like, I'm gonna frame saying the worst thing imaginable. So I'll keep it light. We've had on really despicable leftists and no one's ever yelled at me for it. So I'm going to have people on and we're going to talk about issues. That's just it. And I really don't respect the, like, if we have you on, it has to be a struggle session kind of thing. I'm like, guys, there's a reason why Nick has an audience and people listen to him. The areas where we'll disagree, but this is a news show. We pull up topics and you talk about it. It would be the stupidest thing in the world. I said, instead of doing the news tonight on Timcast Style, we're just going to ask Nick about his opinions and then criticize him for them. We don't do that to people. So I'm not going to play this game where we ignore prominent personalities with opinions people don't like. And I'm not going to bring people on just to struggle session them. Be that a leftist either. We had on a communist and we argued quite a bit about the Aaron Good shooting. No one comes to me and says she's a proud, overt communist. And all the despicable things that come with this, and no one complained.
I'm just going to say, for the record, Hitler was great. And I mean that by in scope and stature.
That's why I wanted you on.
It's like Alexander the Great. He was a psychotic murderer. Wasn't a good guy, but he was great in scope and scale, as was Hitler. The largesse of his knowingness is all-encompassing. Everyone pretty much knows who he is. So that he was.
Ian's just trying to push buttons.
Did you like that one?
He was just trying to piss people off because he knows they're going to clip it. And
Hitler was great. Wasn't even good, but you could argue that he was great.
Because people think great means good when great means of magnitude.
And great could mean evil. Could mean very evil.
Exactly.
Yo, bro, it's like, oh, dude, it's so sick. Like great doesn't just mean like good or like something tastes good, bro. It could mean like also like you're like the greatest at being evil, man. Like, what even is this, bro? Like, he should be a bud tender. He should be selling artisanal beer. He should be selling psilocybin mushrooms to teenagers in Denver, Colorado. Instead, he's a co-host on Timcast because he's willing to toe a line. Not even because he's willing to toe a line, just because he's dumb.
The same thing to Tommy G. I interview. It's funny you say that because I said the exact same thing. I was like, these are great leaders. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm like, good and great are not the same thing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of...
They mock him with their presence. Well, you agree or disagree with Fuentes? Fuentes is smarter than these people. These people are dragging him down.
Awesome is not always good.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool or anything like that.
I can help millennial.
But he's towing a bit of a party line himself too.
Understand this. The scene in Harry Potter when Snape has to do the unbreakable vow with Draco.
If you're not my dad or an InfoWars alumni, don't try to do movie analogies. You're not trained in them.
Draco Malfoy, that he will kill Dumbledore. And he says something like, you're trusting the boy to kill a great wizard. And he goes, oh, and he goes, Dumbledore is a great wizard. Only a fool would say otherwise. They're the bad guys who don't like Dumbledore. And his point was, even though they're enemies, you have to recognize he's powerful. And agreed. I always hate the thing where it's like,
yo, man, like Dumbledore's a wizard, bro. But like even his enemies, man, they respected him because he's powerful, dude. Like, are we 14? I'm 14 and this is deep. That's essentially what this whole freaking show has been that we've suffered through.
I think you were talking about this on the Green Room podcast. When the subject of Hitler comes up, you have to just run through all the condemnations. It's like, we get it. Hitler was a really bad guy.
Land acknowledgements.
Land acknowledgements. Yeah, exactly.
Literally, dude.
Hitler sucked. He was stupid. He was on meth. Anyway.
Nick, I got to ask you, because I'm like new to the game.
Who is him? Who is he? Who is this guy? Can one person in the chat, does one single person in the chat know who this is? And I know I'm a nobody too. It is what it is. I got a bit of a pedigree though. Who is this? What is this person?
When the Kanye episode, was the evac like planned?
No,
I don't believe you.
My right, if it was, I wasn't in on it. My right hand to God, because we went there and he was a little apprehensive. I'm going to be honest with you, because we flew in a year-old place in West Virginia, and we went out. We got what is that? A hibachi? We got
at Frederick, Maryland,
and he was getting really like frustrated. He was getting a little antsy, because I think he's a little maybe self-conscious about talking about politics because we were learning a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And we pulled up, and I think that was it. I think he was a little nervous, and and then I think you pressed him a little bit.
I didn't even press him.
No, you said something, and then you were like, no, you cut off Nick, and yeah, it was like, I'm done with it. He ain't listening to Nick.
You were like, who's them? Who's them?
No, he said that.
Oh yeah,
he said, who is they though?
Yeah, right.
And then
right.
I said, I don't know, like corporate elites and like the establishment, military, and he was like, and he got up and stormed out.
He was already mad. So, but no, if there was, I wasn't in on it, and I don't think it was.
We had like 200,000 concurrent viewers at the time. It was massive.
I remember. Yeah, it was.
And then he started he smack talked me on Alex Jones, which was amazing.
He kept saying
Nobody
pool's
knows
closed.
What do you say?
Pool's closed.
Let's grab some more of these Rumble rants. We'll talk more about the crazy stuff.
Painful.
We'll go to the uncensored portion of the show where we can say we can get into the nitty gritty of all this stuff. All right.
Oh, and he puts that behind a paywall. Notice that he puts the fun part behind a paywall.
Let's see what we got here. Grandstanding and hot dogging. Good name. If you think anything will happen to Don Lemon, then I've got an Egyptian plane to sell you. Shout out to me, mom. Well, tell me the price, because Harmeet Dillon, of all the people in the DOJ, she's the one person I think means business. It doesn't mean you're going to get charges. She might try and push for charges, but nothing might happen. So we'll see.
Oh, she means business. She means business. RFK, Tulsi, they mean business.
Let's see what we got here. Let's see. I don't know how to say that. Quaker. Got my America First hat a few days ago, and I've been wearing it to work. It's only liberal white women that get butthurt over it. No one else has said anything negative about it. Keep up the work, brother.
Okay, they're reading super chats. We'll cover a few of these. I'm going to watch the full thing after the national championship game. Don't. It's going to be a waste of your time. And enjoy the championship game. That actually provides a lot more value than this does. This is like fifth graders smoking weed, fantasizing about an imaginary future. That's about as deep as this puddle goes.
Let's go.
And while we're here, shout out to South if you're watching this. I hope you're winning big stacks at the poker table. There's a dude that I play poker with sometimes who always wears the blue America First.
Oh, I'm a poker player. I'm a cool guy. I'm 40 years old. I dress like I'm a skater boy, and I play poker with the super chat money. I'm Mr. Tim Pool.
Oh, sweet.
And he doesn't talk politics, but he's a big fan of yours. And there's another guy at the table, Ken, who is a super lib, who thinks he's not a lib, but he wears the In This House shirt, and then, I hope I'm not blowing you guys up, but they're both really cool. Even, someone told Ken that I was bad-mouthing him. I'm like, never. I was like, I said you were my best friend. He's a liberal. He doesn't.
Okay, we can't do this anymore. If this is what it's going to be, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to go ahead and react to it. I want to hear what y'all have to say. I'm going to go ahead and read some comments that I didn't throw up on the screen. Rex should be where Nick is. No, I should. I wouldn't even put myself in that room, man. That's the thing, is because I'm not arrogant like that. I'd be in the seat where like the guy who no one knows who he is. I'd be in that seat. Nice stuttering, John O.L. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's absolutely sad how they drown out good voices with this shit. True. Absolutely true. At 100% true. We just wasted 2 hours of our life, us collectively together. And maybe we didn't, because it gave some fun meta level commentary, and they all look like cartoon characters. So it's a little bit funny. There's some entertainment value there, but ultimately it's a 40-year-old, very rich skater poker LARPer, his mushroom growing or mushroom appearing friend, the agnostic former Catholic metal guy who looks like a lab rat who runs through the maze, and then Nick Fuentes. And then the other guy who we don't know the name of, who just appeared like a wild Pokemon, but not like a Charizard or anything, like a Metapod, just kind of existed. So, and they spent 2 hours not talking to each other. They spent 2 hours talking about, Rupert, stop eating nicotine pouches off the ground. Sorry to get distracted. They spent 2 hours talking about the Tibetan fox's eyes being the same as the Asian people, and that's because of the wind. And then Tim Pool implicitly bragging about meeting with Netanyahu and ribbing Nick over why he wouldn't do it. And then Ian swooping in from the top rope with the Freudian slip, almost says Zionist when he's talking about evil action, and then covers it up. I mean, I'm trying to come up with something coherent here, but like, we all know what we watch. We watch the distraction. It's like you say, it's absolutely sad how they drown out good voices with this shit. This shit's promoted everywhere. This shit's at the top of X. This is in X News. That's how I found it. That's how I found out I was going to react to it today. Right. And that's because it's slop. That's because it pushes the two-party Hegelian dialectic of Democrat, Republican. We need to be post-duopoly. And any conversation that's not really about post-duopoly is not, they're lying to you for an agenda, for a reason. Tim Pool's trying to sell his coffee. Tim Pool's trying to keep his tax insurance sponsorships and all of this. Ugh. I'm only watching to support Rex. It's very kind, truth and doubt. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Forgive me. So cringe, your grandchildren will sniff your mothballs to get high. Metapod. Yes, Metapod. It's a live Metapod. That's his name. It's funny how Nick was someone didn't ever touch, but now it's cool to interview him. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Isn't that a bit weird? And, you know, he towed some lines here today. There's some stuff I really don't agree with him on. I'll talk about that next stream or later in this stream probably. Rupert's still in here. Rupert's chilling. More like a Rattata. Psyduck is your spirit Pokemon. What did you think of the Nick Fuentes Andrew collab? It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's hero worship. If you want to look at a guy that you admire, go out and have fun, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just not into that. Now, that's what it is for some people, and that's fine. I agree. Like it's funny, memeable moments, funny clips. I enjoy that too. But ultimately, when you're like going to a Miami club or whatever with a bunch of women, like in a car, and you're just dancing to Heil Hitler music, is that addressing the current problem with the soul of our nation being degraded by the foreign interest? No. And I think it's just more mainstream stuff, more popular stuff, more money-making stuff, to be honest with you. I think Andrew Tate is a digital e-pimp. I think that Sneeko is Sneeko. I think that, who else was there? Myron's interesting. You know, I don't agree with everything he says, but I think he's got a sound mind. He used to work in the military and kind of in the intelligence sector. So he's a smart guy. I won't discredit him. And then you got Fresh Walter, of course. He's kind of in the background of all the videos. You can see him in there if you know where to look. Well, I mean, it's just like, have fun. Have fun. It is what it is. Ultimately, that's not what I do. I do a serious political commentary show. I'm a pundit. I consider myself to still be a reporter. Maybe a journalist, maybe not. I don't put things in writing aside from, maybe a tweet or two that might get me banned. But I don't know. I just, the whole streaming culture of walking around 24 hours, 12 hours or whatever it is with a camera and like trying to meme on people or mog people or whatever. I get it. It's entertaining to watch. But ultimately, even with this show right here, even me doing like a 2, 3, or 4 hour show, the ancient Arab tribes had a story around the time of Lawrence of Arabia. That's where I know of it from. It's from the movie. If you took a photo of someone, it was like stealing a piece of their soul. And I happen to believe this, by the way. And it's not like you're stealing someone's soul or whatever. It's that deep, but you do take a part of your identity, and then you're giving that, you're projecting that out to people, right? So I look at this streaming culture, and ultimately these people would be acting differently if there weren't cameras there. They would. And for me, that's kind of the thing that I judge things on. It's using Nick for views. Absolutely. 100%. That's what that was. That was a goy buck harvesting operation. That was a revenue stream via super chat operation. That was a planned ordeal by Tim Pool. Tim Pool's smart. He wants to play more poker. Don't think Pool isn't push, folks. Absolutely. Absolutely. We need unity, not left versus right. 100%. That's what I preach on the show. That's what we preach on the show. Nick Fuentes, Dan Bongino, and Tim Pool collab upcoming. I'm covering Dan Bongino next show. It's to bring people on the fringe back to the center. It's all a big show. If Metapod turned into a human, it would probably look like Tim Pool. Fair. And thank you, man, thank you. I'm just giving an honest take. I really like you, man. Thank you so much. I have a Ty Splosion tattoo. Very cool. Very cool. It wasn't my starter. My starter was Mudkip. You didn't have fun. Who is someone you admire? That's a good question. Who is someone I admire? Let me think about this. Neil Magny. I admire Neil Magny. I admire Fuentes for his oration skill and ability. I do think he is the best of the generation. That's a hard question. You know, Thomas Massey. I admire Thomas Massey in the face of all the threats and God knows what that's happening up there in Washington, D.C. I admire him for still continuing to stand up for the American people. Who do I admire? That's such a good question. I admire my father, of course. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a living legend. And just the way he was able to like take care of me throughout my life and really protect me from some bad things happening, especially like during my parents' divorce. Shout out to him. Always respect him for that, even if we do disagree on some things. The Due Dissidents guys, Russell Dobular and Keaton Weiss, I admire them. I think that they're intellectuals, even though we don't agree on everything. And I think that they're people that do the best show on the internet right now. And like they're high level orators. Don't get me wrong. I would consider Fuentes to be in a league of his own, kind of like with my father in that category. But as far as prepared segments, doing it all themselves, all independent, free from corruption, I would say Due Dissidents. I really respect them. I really, really do respect the Due Dissidents guys. Let me think. Who do I respect? Jesus, of course, the ultimate example. A lot of people. Well, actually, not a lot of people. A few. Is that who we were talking about? Sorry, I just walked in. We were just covering the Nick Fuentes x Tim Pool stream, which is like a 3-hour nothing burger where Tim Pool like tap dances around questions and chortles about Israel. Yeah, I think it's cool and nice. They had fun, but it doesn't affect me. Bro, I'm loving Rex today. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Natural Medicine. The French finds new frontiers, but the old ones need to be secured first. Shredding these people for exactly my issues with them. Yeah, dude, I mean, this is how Americans feel. This is how the common American feels. That's why I have this position. I was raised to be anti-government, anti-authority, pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-liberty. And when you look at these people, it's like we're classic Coca-Cola with the cocaine in it and the real cane sugar in it, and these people are Coke Zero or Diet Coke. There really is no competition because I can just get on here and spit and spit and spit and spit. And I know if I went on that show, I would devastate, destroy. And I invite them to have me on, please. And we'll talk about Israel. We'll talk about your support for it. Oh, we can't do that. It's going to get us banned. Oh, no. So thank you for your support. I appreciate that. We're having fun tonight. Myron is pretty fair. I disagree with him on some things, but he's got a pedigree. He's got a real background. He's a professional. He knows what he's talking about. It's like you said, like he was, when they were all out there dancing around the streets, Myron's the one that's strapped. Myron's the one that's got the gun on him. To be fair, Andrew quit the pimping stuff, and after being Muslim, your sins are gone. I don't know about that. I'll agree to disagree with you on that. They used him to exploit him and maybe honeypot him, referring to Fuentes' Pool, I assume. Yeah, Pool and Fuentes should have a higher conversation, but they failed to. Well, I mean, Fuentes should have been more combative and should have elevated the conversation. Excuse me. Apologies. Excuse me. Yeah, streaming culture is about gay ASF to me, not like this type of streaming, but the kind you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, well, this is a political show. This is a radio show for TV. Streaming, it's a little different. The IRL stuff, like take Rampage Jackson for example. You know, Rampage blocked me after the whole Roger Jackson thing. Because, like I said, that he should be in prison for like 20 years to life because he tried to kill somebody. And I think, like, objectively, if you look at it, like that's just the truth of what happened. But, you know, I like Rampage. I thought Rampage was funny. I still do. I think he's hilarious. But he's gotten really big off of, like, the thing he does is, like, he, like, acts angry towards people when he has to, like, teach them something or, like, deal with something or whatever. Because, like, he's the ex-UFC champion. He's a tough guy. Obviously, very tough guy. Fuck, kill 5 of me or whatever. But at the same time, it's very one note. It's very one note. And with this, we got different topics. We got different discussions. We got different debates. We got different callers. We got the entire world to discuss, not just one little topic about something that gets zoomed in on. It's sad rather than entertaining. They each said they never cared about validation as they were seeking validation. Don't know who that's referencing to. I want to call. We might do that. I'm just feeling a little run down, to be honest with you. That was pretty tough to suffer through. I'll respond to all chats and comments right now. I want a flood of them. Nick doesn't even get that many views. Nick gets a ton of views. I think if that's who you're referring to. Pool needed those views. Oh yeah, it's super chat harvesting time. It's coffee bean sales time for Timmy P. And look, I respect that because we are sellers of products and sellers of goods as well. But the difference is we do it to actually fund the operation, and we're obsessed with the operation. That's all we care about. Versus Tim Pool, he's happy with his podcast setup and sucking off Netanyahu as long as he gets to go gamble the super chat money on no limit hold'em. So it's two different species. All right. It's kind of like the Brahmin caste in India and the untouchable, in my opinion. Bongino, again, utter disappointment. Totally agree. Going to do a reaction stream about him tomorrow or the day after. Nice Mudkip reference. Yeah, he's my starter Pokemon. G. Edward Griffin, I'd love to have him on. Why is Nick collaborating with someone like Tim? Well, I think it's about exposure and about reach. But this thing happens where when you make it big and you get the opportunity to go on someone's show, it's very hard when you fly, so to speak, into enemy territory to just like go off on someone and to like be uber base. But at the same time, I think you have to try harder than this. I'm disappointed in this from Nick. Massey's growing on me. I love Massey. Boring AF, super boring. Made me want to pull my teeth. Made me want to do the cordless drill skull experiment on myself to relieve the pressure. Nick, isn't that impressive? I disagree, man. I've been my first on-air appearance was in 2009, so that was 17 years ago. I know broadcasting. I know new media. I know radio. I know talent. He is the best. And like that is just the truth. And even if you disagree with him and think he's Hitler or whatever, you can disagree with every single one of his positions. From the perspective of being a talk show host, he is the best. He is the best. He is able to keep what he's trying to convey to people. He's able to do it for 3 hours without a break. I rely on chat. I rely on articles I see. I rely on all these things. That stream of consciousness, it can't be taught. I can do it for about 30 minutes maximum. And then I did on Due Dissonance. And then I couldn't walk the next day. I was so tired. I admire Due Dissonance too. They're incredible, man. It's the best show on the internet right now. Keaton and Russ are the light of my life. That's why I'm here. Dude, they're phenomenal, man. They've been the soundtrack of my life since the COVID. Like hats off to them, seriously. They rated the stream yesterday. That was incredible. Your example glazes Nick. All right, screw Nick Fuentes. F Nick Fuentes, most evil person alive. He's still the best broadcaster I've seen in the generation. And like, that would be like you tell a heart surgeon they don't know how to do heart surgery. You tell me I don't know what I'm looking at here. Like, and we can disagree on it, of course, and it can be okay. And you could find him not to be that impressive. He did a show for 9 years with like an incredibly niche audience where there's really no reason to do it and just incredible suffering involved. And you don't do a show for 9 years and come out on the other side of it successful without being incredibly talented. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do this show for 9 years for like God knows how, like few viewers or whatever, but he did it and he plowed through. And like they say, 10,000 hours and you become an expert in something. He's put that in. I put my 10,000 hours in, but it was adjacent. It wasn't directly filming or broadcasting. So I've got a lot to learn. I look at him just from an oration perspective as someone that's impressive. So everyone's going to disagree. Everyone hates everyone. It is what it is. They adore you, by the way. I hope you feel it. Dude, I love them. I love those guys. I hope I don't get banned for that clip they played on the show where I criticized Israel because that went viral on X. And then the Grok says that I'm going to get banned pretty soon. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't want it to happen, but I love those guys. Seriously. You're dead on. And Natty met as Jack Vincent. They just banned me. Used to follow me. Nice. I'll give you another follow back. I want to see you and Nick together. I've met him before. Ultimately, what reason does he have, though, to meet with me? I don't provide any audience or any reach or anything like that. The only thing I have is surname merchant. And if you notice, like, if you look at my Twitter, if you look at my X, like, I'm very careful not to do that. I'm very careful not to surname merchant my way to the top or whatever, or to relevance. I want people to be interested in me because of my ideas and the things that I say that are unique. And if he becomes interested in that and he wants to do it, we can do it. We're mutuals. He follows me on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. So the offer's open. But I'm a small fry. It's a small fish, big fish thing. I hate on Myron more than I like him, but he's decent. He's smart, man. And like, even if you disagree with people, you have to recognize they're intelligent. Steel sharpens steel. How about Dookie sharpening Dookie? That's what that was. But Fuentes and Poole seem like Clay versus Ash. I don't know who was who. Nick is 6 months from standing with Israel. He got a little closer tonight for sure. Fuentes is too weak and scared to be combative. He's got to be combative, man. You got to be combative. You got to crash out. If I was called, I'd be down tempo at least today. I don't like Nick trying to aura farm with a bunch of Muslims and atheists. It's entertaining and counterculture is important, but Clav, Sneeko, and Myron are completely mentally incapacitated. Well, I mean, that's the movement, quote unquote, man. That's why it's all so ridiculous. This left, right thing, like, oh, we're saving the young people. And it's E-Pimp, popular streamer, actually politically relevant person, Jay Waller, who's like a construction magnate, and then like more digital E-Pimps. And like, that's the counter. Oh, like, well, the left's never going to recover from this. The youth is on the rise. Like, it's funny. Like, I laughed when I saw them in the club, but I laughed because it was kind of absurd, you know? So it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, you're going to find with me, and that's why the show's called A Gray Area, like, things aren't black and white with me. I got a nuanced perspective. I've been doing this 17 years. I've been politically aware. 17 long, long years. An entire lifetime. I like Myron until he starts ranting about women. It is such a bad move. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the female slander. I don't enjoy it. I really like women a lot. And I think these people that come after him, I think it's, I don't approve of it. And I got 3 sisters. So Nick is the most popular political streamer in 2026. The past Daily Wire, Hassan, or Asmongold stuff is over. I just don't like who Myron associates with. Coming off work shift. Badass, dude. Badass. I hope you get some solid rest. Hope you drink some Gatorade or some nice water. Just lay down on that bed, man, and just relax. And that's the best part about being tired is it feels so good to go to sleep. I know you're going to be reading these. I'm reading them all. Did you go to college? No. I graduated when I was 17 years old after cheating to get through a lot of the classes. I was working at InfoWars. So I kind of got a, you know, like old in the olden times person like the 1800s or whatever, that's a cobbler. They teach their kid how to be a cobbler. Like, I was kind of taught how to do this. That was my college education, was at Free Speech Systems LLC. Weirdly enough, I mainly agree with Nick on a lot. I just don't like the Alexander stuff. I don't like it either. Of course, disavow, horrible, and don't find him funny. Brain is sharp, but want to speak slower, which some find boring. I could talk faster. I'm known for it, but that sometimes is mistaken for nervousness. Yeah, the fast talk, like, I rely on that a lot because it's just how I talk, speak, and communicate with people, right? But you have to just be, it's tone and intent, and it's being measured. 1000%. Nick's the best, from William Frosco. Myron associating himself with all these annoying women and Fresh and Fit is bad, but his political streams are chill. Well, he's making money off of the women. Like that. That's what it all is. It's why you have them there, so you could like dunk on them and create a viral clip. Like, it's just the internet, man. It's modern internet culture. Yeah, he put the hours in. You can get there too. Nick's show isn't as informative as other older folks who've been researching longer. I mean, yeah. I don't know. He's white hot when it comes to his ability. I respect it. Yeah, actually, I forgot about that. It kind of creeps out of my consciousness. I got censored till March 19th on Facebook. Guess you aren't allowed to contradict ICE protest. The bigger Fuentes gets, the closer he comes to becoming CK, Louis CK, I assume. Andrew Wilson is the GOAT. Gray Area Talks. One day, my GNC clerk, Right Eye Brain, will thank you and your pop for the InfoWars supplements. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, over 3 hours. Very fun. We reacted to it. I read y'all's comments. I love you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. Keep in mind, tomorrow, big show, reacting to Bongino. Wednesday, might do a show, might do a break. Thursday, of course, Tim Tompkins in the other chair doing a phenomenal deep dive, doing an interview, doing research. Going to be together again on Thursday. Friday, another solo stream. Saturday, another solo stream. And then Sunday, our marquee event, our marquee happening. We're having Alex Stein join us Sunday at 7:30 Central. So you're going to want to be there to watch Alex Stein at 7:30 Central on the Gray Area. And if you're watching this, if you're already subscribed and you're already following us on X, that's incredible. That's amazing. I just want to remind everybody, if you're on YouTube or Rumble, Gray Area Talks is the X account as well. I highly suggest you follow that, as well as my co-host. We're trying to do a lot of things here. We're trying to get a lot of things done. And if you are watching on my X profile and you want to find the YouTube is Gray Area Talks as well as the Rumble. I'm trying to figure out streaming on other platforms as well. We're going to do a computer swap. We're upgrading the studio. We have a switcher now for main days. It's all very exciting. It's all here on the Gray Area. So I'll read one more comment and I'll say thank you for tonight to all y'all again. Yes, Alex Stein joins us on Sunday. Alex Stein. Thank you. Very, very kind. Very, very kind. My favorite place in Texas is East Texas. It's where my family's from. Around Buffalo, Dew, Teague. All right, I appreciate all y'all. Have a good night. God bless, good luck, and good night.
Modern life has left us out of balance. Long ago it was once said, certain remedies could grant a man the vitality of a horse. For over 6,000 years, these natural remedies have been harvested and tested by generations. Why create complex formulas when nature's roots are still in our hands? Try Primal Core. Ancient remedies for modern life.